and welcome to another exciting episode of Wave the Brush with me, your host, Kris, aka the Name Butcher, aka Hey You Get Off My Lawn, aka Kris, you are being creepy again. Wave the Brush, the most informative 120 minutes on the internet on the wargaming lifestyle. We'll talk about painting, terrain, conversions, and everything under the sun, meaning no topics are barred. We'll talk about everything and anything. So, be warned. If you're watching this live, you can ask your questions in the chat, whichever direction it might be in for you. And of course, if you're watching this after the fact, you can submit your questions to Kris@wavethebrush.com. If you're going to send pictures, send them as attachments in the email. Don't send it off as links to other sites, because it just won't do it. It's annoying, and, oftentimes because there's ads and things like that in there. So, please, don't do it. Also, you'll find it in the description below, as well as a link to wayofthebrush.com, central hub of all this silliness. Has links to all social medias, as well as Discord. Join us on Discord. It's a lot of fun. We keep the conversation rolling there 24/7. So if you feel like, asking questions there, feel free. Of course, we also have like the Facebook and the Way of the Brush. Sharing is caring. So many ways you guys can share what you're working on. Oh, and of course, Instagram. Use the hashtag Way of the Brush, which I do a little segment on the show. Looking at people's Instagram, what they're posting, what they're sharing, and, stuff like that. So feel free to use it. Any which way. There's many ways, many ways to share what you're doing. And so please. Also at wayofthebrush.com, you'll find links for t-shirts. Or if you're on YouTube, you can see it down below. Want to help support the channel? Help look like a connoisseur of all that is good and holy in this world. They're wearing a Way of the Brush t-shirt. And if you purchase yourself a shirt, send a picture of yourself in your shirt, and I will add it to the Monkey Shrine, which is also at wayofthebrush.com. And of course, you'll find a link for Patreon. Huge thank you to all my patrons. Without your support, this channel would not be able to continue to do what it is that I do. And so a huge thank you to all my patrons who continue to support, and brand new people. If you're not able to support monetarily, i.e. money, thumbing up the video, liking, following, subscribing, crushing your keyboard, smashing the keyboard. Every time you see the video, smash the keyboard. And you're helping the channel out a great deal. Praying to the algorithm gods, as it were. Yeah. So a huge thank you to everybody who does that as well. And of course, speaking of thank yous, big thank you to Carl, Guy Me Earl for Beer and Blood Bowl YouTube channel. Check it out. If you love yourself some beer and you love yourself some Blood Bowl, Beer and Blood Bowl is where it's at. We always take time to thank Carl, even though he is no longer with us, for taking the time out of his busy day to create the email jingle that plays before the email segments of the show. And so always much love to Carl. And of course, speaking of love, much love to my baby brother Evan for creating the intro, outro music that plays at the beginning and end of the show. So always much love to my baby bro Evan. And if you're into rare comics, check it out. EB Comics. Rare comics, like I'm talking rare. Like the one where Captain America sodomizes Wolverine. That's a rare comic. You go look it up to see how rare it is. The value. It's huge. Alright, we're only a couple minutes into the show. We're already talking sodomy. Who's joining us today? I could see Sir Peanut Butter. Morning. Kris and Peeps. Morning. Ebb and Flow. What's up, everybody? Dark Mission. Hi, Kris and Monkeys. Beautiful day in merry old Englandy. Why does it have an E at the end? England? Is it like, or is it England? 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 Or is it England? Like a gland? Oh, what has he got? Oh, he's got enlarged England. He can't help it. He's got an ingrown England. So what are we doing today? We are just doing some emails. I got lots of emails to do. We also have our Instagram section where basically, we have a look. Anything on the GW side of things? What's up for pre-order these days? I haven't even checked this actually in a while. Night Judicator. Or I guess I'm still on the Canadian, so let's go over to the English side, because English side would already have the new pre-order stuff up. Oh, I forgot to change this. See, there's always something I forget to do. There we go. Thankfully, that's just a picture of my desktop, so, you know, don't worry. Yeah, this vulture thingy. I like this vulture thingy. And this guy. Oh, yeah. I guess, yeah, since the pre-order's up now, I have this guy. Games Workshop was kind enough to send me a copy for looking at and playing with and doing stuff with. And so, yeah. I've got this. I've also got the other thing as well. The new one. The guy riding the thing. You know, the troll. I really like that one. I like this piece, though. When I first saw this piece, holy cramoles. I was like, damn, this thing's cool. I mean, I'm sure we could pull up the video on that one, but... Oh, he's got no helmet. Oh, I like the no helmet. I kind of like him with the no helmet. Kind of looks like a hairless dog. Yeah, I like this model. I might have to paint it. I might have to. As I'm nearing the end of the Space Marine project, I'm thinking that I might have to do one of these kits. We'll do it on stream, of course. We'll do it on stream. The big vulture thingy. I like this big vulture thingy. It's cool as well. I mean, it doesn't fire me up as much as, you know, as the other thingamabob. But this is pretty damn cool too. It's got the big scary wings. I'm sure those wings will find their way into conversions and such. Even the feet, the big bird head. The grumpy orc riding it. That orc is grumpy looking. Oh, it's even got horns. That's kind of cool. Yeah, that's kind of cool. I kind of dig that. I didn't know it had that alternate head to it. I'm kind of on board with that alternate head. Kind of on board. I didn't say I was 100% on board. But kind of. Yeah, I dig the birdie thing. What else do we got? The Marsh Crawler Slugoth. Oh, this guy's kind of cool. Yeah. You feel kind of bad for this guy. Let's go back to this window here. Yeah, this little guy, I feel kind of bad for him. I love the little orc on the top where Grot beating a drum. But I feel kind of bad for this guy. He's being forced to, I mean, he doesn't look happy anyway. to carry these assholes on his back. Yeah, I kind of dig this kit too. I have like no interest in collecting these orcs, but the models that they have are pretty darn cool. And you know you really like them when you see it and you go, oh man, I'd kind of like to paint that. Then you know you've got a problem. Then you know you have a problem. You might have suspected before, but now you know that, you know what? Holy shit, I might have a problem. I'm buying a whole bunch of models that I'm never going to get to. Because initially you're seeing all these new kits, right? And you're thinking, wow, it'd be a lot of fun to paint that. And I'll do this, I'll do that. And, you know, I'll use these kinds of paints. And maybe I'll try these different techniques. And, you know what I mean? Like, all these ideas go rushing through your head. And then they just end up sitting on your shelf, taking up space. And you're like, that's not cool. Got too much crap here. Disco. Morning, Kris. Morning. Well, it's afternoon now, but you know what I mean. Evan Belleau. Wolverine was never as relieved to have his healing abilities than after being on the receiving end of a super soldier shafting. Exactly. Like, how fast, like, you know, how fast could Wolverine recover from being attacked by being forcibly assaulted upon by a human super soldier? Like, you know, these are the questions that need answering in the comic books. I'll tell you, these are the questions that need answering. Oh man. All right, let's jump over. You know what? Let's take care of this right away. Right away. Let's head over to Instagram. Disco Duke, hey Kris and Monkeys, hey. We're jumping over to Instagram. I think Disco, I think I seen you did post something. Let's see here. Senior Kim. Let's give that a likey. Some Plague Marines. I really like the work on the the flames. I like the color. Oh, did you even do it like a wood grain on his gun? That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I really like that. Yeah, it's really nice work. I like your work on the green as well. It has that slight little texture to it. Yeah, I really dig that. Oh, was that the last picture? That was the last picture. Oh, but you know what though, Kim? You know what? Yeah. You didn't drill out the barrels. Kim, you didn't drill out the barrels. I'm just teasing. Here's another one from Kim. Painted some cruel boy orcs. First time using oils for anything but washes. So you painted the whole model in oils? That's cool. Must took a little bit for it to dry. Really nice on the red. Yeah, I really like that. I like how like the leather is really dark. Skin's nice and bright. The armor is kind of, you know, it's contrasty. It's got really dark values, but it goes up to a bright red. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, the work on the flesh is really good. Now, I'm curious, Kim, were you painting the entire miniatures in oils or just working with an oil paint in regard to something or other? I don't know. Next one is from Phoenixink. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Blood Angels Bike Squad with the Chaplain Commission. It's a classic bike. It's overall neat paint job. Not bad. Not bad at all. You throw some decals on there and you're ready to go. Be mindful of how heavy a primer you use. I don't know if you were using like black or what have you, but yeah, just because it looks like you may have been trying to build up a lot of layers on top, just be mindful of that. Like Kris always says, if you want it bright, you prime it white. This one's from Eve Dominus Belly. This is my favorite pose out of my assault intercessors. I'm also happy with how I did the helmet markings and the fur on this one. Yeah, I like the helmet marking. That's kind of like the first thing my eye was drawn to. It looks like you're going for a bit excuse me. Looks like you're going for a bit of a non-metallic on the shoulder pads. I like the blood effect on the knife as well. Yeah. Solid effort. Solid. Porpula. Great unclean one. Such a handsome fellow. Had good time painting the smaller demons and naturally went all in on the nurgly goodness. Yeah, I really like this. It's straightforward. You know, he didn't feel like it was necessary to bog him down with other values. You know, like going for like other effects around like the boils and stuff like that, or the cracked skin, or you know what I mean. Like he's straight up values of green, so he stays very nurgly feeling. I like the subdued brown red values of like the guts and organs and tentacles and things. It's nice work on the horns. Really nice work on the weathering of the bronze or copper or whatever the hell it is. The rust. Only one teeny tiny suggestion I would make is do something about his eyes and his teeth. His eyes definitely need to be in a color. At least in these pictures, it doesn't look like, you know, his eyes look like they're just similar value as his skin. And I imagine this guy's pretty bright to look at in person. Little nurglings. Yeah, I really like your treatment of the open wounds and, like, you know, that color you used inside the wounds. It has a slight brown red cast to it. It's very, very interesting. Yeah, just the eyes. Upon closer look, I mean, his teeth are fine. I don't know if I would have gone with a black like that. Probably would have stayed within the realm of the brown, or even a yellowy brown for his teeth. And that might get caught or get lost in this flesh, though. Really nice highlighting though on the flesh. Like I can see there's individual highlights built up around the folds and everything like that. Yeah, I would take a little bit more time on that face. Those eyes, his eyes, like you want to draw the viewer into those eyes, and you know when you get there, there's no payoff. But otherwise, really great work. Really nice highlighting. Interesting colors. Really nice work on the model. And yeah, the little nurglings are just too awesome. Another one from Evan Belleau. Finish the pack leader of my Space Wolf Assault Intercessors. Nice work on that chest. Really nice work. I like the little chain on his ankles. Or his shin. Yeah. I think the next thing, the next phase, if you will, for you, Ave, because I noticed that you're going for some pretty specific type of looks on the model, and like I see that really fantastic work on the chest. Now, is that a decal or is that free-handed? It looks like free-handing to me, but I could be wrong. Yeah, but anyway, as I was saying, I think working with your paint in a slightly thinned out condition, right? Just add a little bit of thinner, or just a teensy amount of water. I'd use thinner though, just because you know it helps the paint stay flowing like paint. But anyway, and your nicest, sharpest brush, keep that only for these kinds of tasks of like minimal edge highlighting, fine edge, you know, freehanding, stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, well, because I was looking at the leather, and you know, it's I can see like thick brush strokes, and same with some of the highlighting as well. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That you know, I think you'd really benefit from thinning your paint just a little bit more, and only working with a particular brush that accomplishes that task for you. Oh, did I give that one a like? I did. This one's from Disco Duke, or Disco Mini Painter, and he's done the classic Morgenthau from Games Workshop Blood Bowl. This was probably one of the earliest miniatures I had. I'm pleased with how he's turned out this time after his most recent paint strip and repaint. His classic Morgenthau. I still have mine kicking around somewhere. I should dig him out. Really nice work. I really like your work on the face and the flesh. He's a classic model, and he's kind of got a classic paint job going on too. This is the big, bold, decisive colors here and there. I like your work on the shoulder pad too. That shoulder pad's good. Very interesting effect on his punchy knife, punch blade. I don't know. What do you call it? Spike fist? Fist spike? Oh, he's even got a black eye. Yeah, I like your weathering on the shoulder pad. I like that. It looks really all mucked up. It's a black frame at the end. I'm not getting debated, am I? Just jumping over to the comments real fast here. Hold on. Let me go to the next picture. Let's make sure to give this a like. Quickly in the comments here. Scott Radom. Hey, peeps. Lord Krabby. Sup, peeps. Hey, old man Logan. Hey there, Kris. Good day to you, sir. Good day. James Kent. Afternoon, Kris. Afternoon, everyone. Disco. Not this disco. Yeah, not that disco. Another disco. Disco Duke. Disco Duke has been around for a while. Yeah, that Disco Mini Painter. That's his other persona. But yeah. Anyway, this is from Irish Mini Painter. Painted a thing. I'm pretty happy with it. How it went overall. So let's have a look. Ooh, looks like a nice work on that sword. I like that. It's nice and clean from what I can see. We are a little bit of ways from the figure, but that's okay. Yeah, it looks like a nice, straightforward, clean paint job. It looks like you spent some time on the sword, which is good, because oftentimes, you know, people's eye is drawn to that space. Looks like you freehanded some lettering on that shoulder. Kratos. Yeah. I think I would add just a little bit brightness to the eye lenses and the red elements, like the little, like, are they little? Is he a blood angel or something? But yeah. But really good. Kind of wish we could got it a little closer in on it. That's okay. This one's from Kevin Cabal, a vintage 1979 white metal cleric figure from Aurel Partha Figures. This little guy came in the Adventurers series box sets with a variety of figures divided up by D&D classes. He came in the Wizards and Clerks set, and possibly the second one, painted for a friend's collection. He's like, oh, hello, over here. It's just a flesh wound. This is a classic mini, though. Nice painting, though. Solid. Oh, you went with a little Zenithal pre-shade, as it were. Yeah, Raoul Partha, I like, you know, some of the figures, really, really great. Some of the figures are kind of, I don't know. But they all had the metal base. So imagine, as a manufacturer, you're making minis. And you're having to use up more pewter per model for that base. And that adds into your shipping weights, stuff like that. That's, you know, I mean, I'm sure it's only points of a gram, but it adds up when you're shipping a big shipping container across the ocean, you know. Anyway, 1979. How old was Kris in 1979? Does anybody know? I'm sure somebody knows. Got another one from... Oh, did I give that one a like? Yeah, I did. Got another one from our good buddy Kim. McFarlane Blood Angel for my brother. I really like the weathering on this one. I like the red. The red's nice and deep. I really like your weathering on this. It's a lot similar to like your Space Wolf, but it does not feel... I like it on the bolt gun too. I like that choice of the... I don't even know if that's a metallic or if that is a color for what is the underside of the bolt gun. It almost looks like it's like a brass casing or something, you know. It's interesting. Anyway, yeah, with like your Space Wolves where they have like a whole whack ton of weathering going on, whereas this is about a similar level of weathering, but it's a lot more subdued. I think because you stayed within that realm of red. You know what I mean? And the brown doesn't really conflict with, you know, like when you're doing it on a Space Wolf where they're blue-gray, and then you have that brown, you know, pre-chipping. It really kind of stands out on the figure. Versus here, where it's a dark brown on top of the red, it doesn't really phase the red value. I like that. I like it. Yeah, Kim, I'm pretty sure you freehanded or you stenciled the symbols, right? That looks like a freehand. Yeah, man, I dig it. I digs it. I'm getting close to finishing mine. Getting close. Oh, I already give this one like. Chapter Master Stillbjorn of the Wolf Spear. Almost done. Yeah, this one's. I like this one. Hence the heart. I like the color scheme. I like the paint job. Straightforward. It's clean. Yeah. Is that it? We're all caught up? I think we're all caught up. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's right, because we already had a sneak preview to Disco's painting there. Very, very cool. Where the hell am I in these comments here? Scott Radom, nice work on the old Morg mini. Yeah, I like it. I like the way he did the flesh. It had almost a classical vibe to it. Like, you know, you can flip to, you know, White Dwarf, you know, 1990 and find that model, you know, that paint job like that. Goes to Starman Deluxe. I'm late, hey monkeys. Voice is hoarse and ears are ringing since I was at the club last night. Oh, nice. Were you singing act or were you just hitting on girls? Or guys, I don't know. I don't know which way you play. So, I'll say both. I don't judge. I don't judge. Well, I do judge. But I try not to judge. I blame the Christian upbringing. Kim, hey, old man Logan. I'm gonna say Kris was 5 in '79. And that's a big negative, old man. Big negative. I was 4 in '79. Lord Krabby. Wow, Kim's rust very good. Yes. Yeah, that was really good. Well, because like I'm not saying like his previous rust was bad, like the weathering, you know. I'm pretty sure I've talked to Kim about this, but like yeah, like here. And see, this is, in hindsight now, this is really subdued as well. So, I don't know, maybe I'm talking out of my ass at this point. I usually am, but because like here, I guess really what it was the rust streaks that was really kind of standing out, and like this one here is good. Maybe it was the other one. Yeah, on Buddy on the left, it feels like too much. Buddy on the right, it feels like an appropriate amount. It doesn't feel too heavy. Versus the buddy on the left, it feels like there's a lot there. I don't know why that is. But also the guy on the right is a little darker. There's a little contrast here versus the guy on the left. So maybe that's the comparison I was thinking of previously. Because the Blood Angel actually, like in hindsight now, looking at both of these guys, the Blood Angel actually is quite a bit more rust. Or not rust, but like chipped armor. Let's go back to Blood Angel. Where is he? There he is. Yeah. So Blood Angel, even now looking at it, I think he's more chipped armor. But here, it doesn't feel out of place or anything. Like it, I don't know. I don't know what it is. But I like the effort here. Not that I don't like his space holes. It's just on the, at least it's on that middle or the left space wolf. That it feels like too much. Buddy on the right, yeah, looks really good. I'm not saying Kim change your paint job or anything like that. I'm 100% not saying that. I'm just saying the Blood Angel, it really works very well. I think because it's more subdued, it doesn't distract the eye versus like those big rust runs on the armor. They it doesn't feel out of place at all. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. I don't know. Where the hell am I? Dark Commission, good as usual. Kim, it's a black highlighted with dark sea blue for the gun casing. Oh, really? Interesting. Dark Commission, very nice lenses, yes. Got rid of nice one. Kim, yep. Disco Duke, thanks. Yeah, no problem. Legion, I also tagged something on Instagram. Oh, you tagged something on Instagram. Oh, you did you? Oh, you did. Well then, let's have a look. This one is from our good buddy Legion. Tartaros Terminator Sergeant. Say that 10 times fast. Tartaros Terminator Sergeant. Really nice. I like the weathering. I like the little splatter of gore on his punchy fist. I like the little servo skull. I like the little hazard markings on the servo skull too. I like that. Oh, is it just the one picture? Oh. Oh. Yeah, really nice work. Yeah, I like the splattering, and at first I thought it was you were going for a chipped armor effect, but no, that's the blood splatter, isn't it? That blood just splattered everywhere. Now there's like little chunks of bits in his, like by his thumb. Did you add that, or was that like residual texture left over from the resin? I am curious. And if so, what are those chunks? Because I'm kind of curious as well. Because I do dig the effect. I dig that. It looks nice and chunky and scary and gory. And I like all those things. Chunky and gory. That could go somewhere. Anyway, Kim just got here. Just woke up from a nap. Cool. Old Man Logan, hee. 4 was my second guess, yeah. Ghost Starman, I don't have the confidence to hit on the girls. Just me and Unigang vibing. Oh, okay, yeah, that's cool too. No judgment. Cool. You just hang out with your chums and, Do you guys use that word chums in the UK? Do you? Chums? We say that in Canada a bit. Chums. Yeah, hanging with your chums. Having a corking good time. with your chums. Oh shit. Now everybody from the UK is like, hey, you fucking ragging on us, bud? Anyway. Disco. I sent you an email, Kris. Okay, cool. I will see it. I don't know. Oh yeah, I see there's a fresh one in there. First first email we have is from the Heretic Scott, so that will be the first one we jump to today. Lord Krabby, yeah, you wear power armor long enough. It's also environment damage. Very good visually. Yes, very good. I liked it. Kim, the first one I did a much lighter rush streaks over the lighter armor, and it's a lighter color, and it makes it look a bit screaming. Yeah, screaming might not be the right word, but yeah, it is very, very noticeable, and I'm not sure what that is. I think it's because that brown is a little darker than that gray, and so it creates that contrast, versus the darker Space Wolf. You still have the similar thing, but because he's a little darker in his base tone, it doesn't conflict quite as much. And on the Blood Angel, because that red armor is fairly dark, and then of course the weathering is a dark tone. Again, it doesn't feel like it conflicts with it. And I think that's really what it is. It's that light armor with a dark weathering, and I think it looks a little funny. But how do you weather, like, say, an entirely white armor, right? I mean, you have to go that kind of route, don't you? I mean, isn't that what everybody does, right? They go with, like, a dark brown, and maybe a silver or gray, or, something else, So, yeah, just kind of weird. I never really thought about that one, really. Like, the choice of how much weathering should go on top of, like, that base scheme, right? Like, if your armor's light, the weathering, like, do you go with an actual, realistic type of weathering, or do you go with something that, jives better with, the underlying paint job, right? It's just thoughts. I'm just asking questions here. Lord Krabby, his weathering looks realistic. Yes, it does. It's good. Legion. The splatter is done with varnish and blood for the blood god mixed together. Oh, really? Interesting. Christopher Wright, good morning all. I'm new here. Is this an every week thing? Usually Way the Brush is every week. Yeah, every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard, or -4 or 5 GMT. I think it's right now it's still -4 GMT, I think. But yeah. So, anywho, yeah, this is every Saturday at noon at this time. If you join us at this time, I will be here. And there are many ways, if you feel like sharing what you're working on and your efforts and such, there are many ways to share. Facebook, Discord, Instagram, many ways. Because sharing is caring. Zero's Hobbies. Where can we send pics to be judged? Where can we send? You can send them to Kris, Kris, at wayofthebrush.com. It's in the description below. Or use the hashtag if you only like to do the Instagram thing. Hashtag Way of the Brush. You can also post it on Facebook, Way of the Brush, or Way of the Brush Sharing is Caring. Share it there as well. Many different ways, like I said. Weren't we just talking about that? Ghost of Starman Deluxe. Chum isn't necessarily a word I'd use, but I understand what it means. Yeah, well, because, like, most people, when they hear chum, they think of, like, Jaws, right? You're baiting sharks, you're using chum, it's like just fish parts and just chuck it into the ocean, and, all the blood and everything like that attracts the sharks. Anyway, I don't know if that's where that term came from, but yeah. Yeah. On this side of the pond, chum gets used. It's not a high frequency word. It's not like a word that gets used a lot, but yeah, it does get used. It is used, but not really that much use. Where am I here? Kim, it's a 7-inch McFarlane Marine, so bigger scale. Yes. Maybe you're answering somebody else's. Go Starman Deluxe. At the moment, the show starts at 5 p.m. UK. Okay. So 5 p.m. There we go. Lord Krabby. Question. I know GW, you know GW, hasn't done Eldar for a while, but since the new orcs, what models you think the Eldar will do first? What models do I think Eldar like what'll get updated first? Man, I don't know. There's talk. There's talk. And I don't know, I don't recall where I remember reading this talk or hearing this talk of a plastic avatar. And yeah, I'm sure they'll probably start off with something like probably like Guardians and Dire Avengers, and possibly making Guardian Dire Avengers like, you know, the combo set like they've done. But then again, they may not, because previously Dire Avengers used to be just simply an add-on for Guardian bodies, and then of course then they made distinct Dire Avenger bodies and Guardians, you know. But yeah, I would assume that's where they would start, is Guardians and Dire Avengers, because those are the troops, right? And maybe scouts as well. There's enough models, like Eldar things recently, where, you know, you could just simply give us a Eldar scout in plastic, right? Because we don't need jet bikes. We don't need, well, I guess, no, we don't really need Farseers. Oh, I guess new plastic Warlocks on foot. Are there plastic Warlocks? I don't even know. Where's G-Dub? G-Dubs! Where are you? Where are you, G-Dubs? Where are you? Craft World, here we go. View all. I wish to view all. Because you got plastic Spirits here. You got plastic Farseer. Plastic Autarch. I think the Autarch needs a revamp as well. I think they could still sell that kit, but give you different arm weapons and helmet weapons and, you know, the backpack config. What was I looking for? Oh, plastic Warlocks. Oh, and an Autarch on jet bike. Yeah, that's another one that is needed. Okay, yeah, so there is no plastic Warlock. So I think a plastic Warlock is something that's needed for every Eldar player out there who wants to do a conclave on foot. Like, it can happen by jet bike now, but on foot, you know, we need. And then of course, yeah, like all the aspect warriors. I mean, they need an update. Other than the Banshees, because they just, you know, and I like the new Banshee sculpts. And so, I mean, if they stay within the realm of, you know, staying with the classic look of Banshees, you know, basically sticking to Jess Goodwin's original concepts, yeah, I'm all for whatever they do with Eldar. And I'm all for very dynamic poses and, you know, things like that. I think one that really needs an update, though, is probably Shining Spears. They need an update. Plastic Scouts and new Guardians, I think, would be nice. And the Falcon Grav Tank, like the Falcon chassis, I think we've had our use from that chassis. I think we can reinvent it. I think. Yeah. I think it's time to update the Falcon. Like the plastic kit, you know. Yeah. Disco Duke question. Kris, I'm starting to work more on my non-metallic metal, and something occurred to me on that morgue. How do you paint non-metallic metal chainmail? I'd normally do lead belcher, non-oil wash, and dry brush aluminum for a true metallic metal. Non-metallic metal chainmail, if you're familiar with a lot of the theory of doing your non-metallic metals, just follow that. So basically okay, well, here, do I still have that up? Do I still have it up? Yeah, here, let me go to the thing, because there was a close-up of his hand, right? Yeah. So, really, really fast. Okay, so if I was doing non-metallic metal chainmail on this figure, I would probably start with the base tone being a kind of a slightly, I would probably start with the mid-tone, actually, being a light gray or whatever I'm imagining, you know, doing this in. off blue, blue-gray, whatever, right? Anyway, and where it is dark, so all the little pits and recesses and the details in between each of the little supposed sculpted chain links, those would stay dark. And I would push brighter tones, just like regular non-metallic metal. Basically treat that entire surface like you would normally for a non-metallic metal effect. But only catch the high points. So you basically could achieve it just doing it in basically like an overbrushing, or even dry brushing for that matter. But overbrushing would be more controlled. And so you push your brighter values downwards and your darker tones upwards. The thumb would get treated separately from the fingers, as well as that part of the chainmail that covers over like the forearm. That would be a separate volume. The thumb would be a separate volume, and the fingers and the back of the hand, and you know what I mean, like, and it would be just treated as basically an overbrushing. But I would treat that volume like it was one solid piece, and you could do it either by filling in the paint on the entirety of it and then hitting it with a shade wash to fall within the recesses, or start off dark and then build your brighter tones right on top, but only using like an overbrush method where you're only catching the tops of the surface, so you leave the darker color in the insides. Now would it be better to use a really dark tone, or a dark mid-tone, or something like that to create that shadows? So that, you could also do that as well. You could, in the darker values, push the shadows downwards, and then where it gets higher up on each of the insides, you could go slightly brighter, so that when you get darker, the shadows, like the high points, you would get that flip in how the light plays off that surface. So as the upper portion is darker, and as it falls within the link, it actually gets a little brighter. So like when you're looking at the hand is dark here, but on the inside of the links, it actually gets brighter, right? But you have that opposite transition going this way, so it's going brighter to darker, but on the surface, it goes brighter to darker, right? Does that make any sense? Disco, did that make any sense? But yeah, that's how, if I was really kind of gonna do non-metallic metal chainmail, that's pretty much how I do it. It'd be big broad streaks. If you wanted to really spend the time and render out something that looked like one-to-one realistic, well then you'd probably have to observe what chainmail looks like. Look at photos of chainmail and then extrapolate basically how light would play on that surface in a gloved hand, and all that, right? So yeah. James Kent, nothing says friendship more than throwing your chum off a boat to sharks. Scott Radom, in Canada, if someone uses the word chum conversationally, then they are a weirdo and you need to cut them out of your life. Do you? Like I said, I remember hearing that one way back in the day. I don't really hear it that much these days, so yeah. But yeah. Kim, paint the bottom part of every link the shine color and the rest of the link in the chainmail dark. Paint the bottom part of every link in the shine color and the rest of the link in the chainmail dark. To paint the like to do a non-metallic metal in chainmail? Yeah. Yeah, see, like I wouldn't worry about every link. But again, like I said, like you could either just do just the top surface and leave it dark in the recesses, or you could use that to your advantage and paint, the interior of each of the little links, starting off darker, going brighter, and of course the non-metallic metal effect is typically darker, going to lighter, and so it'd have the opposite effect. So as it got to the dark points, you would see in between each of the links because the light would reflect everywhere, right? So, yeah. Hopefully that kind of made sense. Ghost Starman Deluxe, based on the kill team Octarius and the upcoming one with the sister battle in Tau. I expect there will be a kill team box that features Eldar at some point. I would assume so as well. But if they're going to give us original Eldar sculpts, then that you would have to conclude that they're working on digital Eldar as well, which they might be already, which they might be sitting on for all we know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Because again, I mean, like, even if we think of it today, it's still 6 months to a year out before it hits production, right? So, yeah. But yeah, if Kill Team comes out, Eldar Kill Team comes out before we get more Eldar stuff, then that would be funny. That would be like working bass backwards as far as, as far as like the sculpting process. I would assume. Because I would assume once they have the digital assets, like for example, like an orc, and they have an orc boy, and they have them all digitally sculpted and everything like that, then it's all it is just take elements, add, slap, move, reposition him, and you know what I mean? You got a new model, right? So doing the kill team and stuff like that for orcs, well, you have your orc, slap more doodads onto him, change his pose, throw a rock and a skull on his base, and you got part of his kill team, right? So if they had the Eldar, then that means that they sculpted the entirety of an Eldar armor at some point, threw doodads on him, gave him a pose, and now he's part of the Eldar kill team. But now you still have this Eldar body that can be, used elsewhere in the line. So I don't know. Or will we see new Eldar, and then we see new kill team, or new kill team and then we see new Eldar? Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what I don't know what, like, why it's taking so damn long to get us new Eldar. You know what I mean? Because like they're still part of the lore. It's not like they're being phased out. Yeah. It's kind of funny. I'm not sure what the holdup is. Ghost Starman. In Kill Team, Craft Worlds can take Guardians, Storm Guardians, Rangers, or Dire Avengers, so I expect one of those will get an upgrade soonish. Rangers probably fit the Kill Team vibe best. Rangers? Yeah. I think Dire Avengers are probably the better Kill Team. Maybe Guardians with the heavy weapon platform for a bit of killiness, but yeah. Which is why, I mean, like, if we see, like, Eldar Kill Team, then, yeah, we definitely would see new Eldar Guardians soon enough. And if there's Plastic Rangers coming out, then we'll see new Plastic Rangers coming out for Eldar. Dire Avengers? Could be the same Dire Avengers. Could be, because I think the latest iteration of the Dire Avenger, I think that is it's already like a digital format. But yeah. But who knows? Yeah, who knows? I'm not sure what the delay is for that. Like, why that is. Unless, of course, maybe they're reluctant to just do, months and months. Because this is basically what it would take for them to roll out a new Eldar line, right? It would be months and months of everybody talking about Eldar. And that might not be, what they want, I suppose, right? Like, for example, if it started in, the summer, and we got the new Eldar tank, we got new Eldar Aspect Warriors, and then, of course, we get some more Aspect Warriors, a month or two later, and we get a new vehicle, and then maybe a new unit type, and a re-sculpt of this, and then the Phoenix Lords, and you know what I mean? Like, it would be a lot of the year occupied by new releases, and I would think that they would not go that route because they want to keep things mixed up, right? And I mean, like, 40K would dominate the release cycle for so long that everything else would just kind of, get put on the back burner. So, yeah. So there's really no really good way to really kind of update, I guess, the Eldar, other than give us another unit now, 6 months from now, give us a couple more things, you know what I mean? And just kind of keep replacing things, and then eventually whenever the codex come out, then, release some of the new units or whatever, and then, I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not part of these discussions, so. I'm not part of any of the discussions, to be honest. James the Kent. Now you listed them all, I wonder if they're holding off updating Eldar as there are so many unit types to do. Yeah, you know, exactly, right? I mean, there's so many to have to go through that maybe they don't want it, jamming up their year, right? Unless, of course, they do a thing of, a year of Eldar kind of thing, right? Like it's just, but I think everybody would be sick of that, even myself. Because, I mean, like, you definitely want to see some more Age of Sigmar stuff. You know what I mean? Like, again, and they couldn't do it as an all big one release. Like, here is 5 different Aspect Warriors. We've revamped the Falcon Grav Tank. Here's the Plastic Warlock. Here's all the Phoenix Swords. They wouldn't do it all at once like that. Because to build up to all that new stuff and then just drop it all at once, it's kind of all your eggs in one basket kind of thing. Because there's all this R&D that goes into, the costs of everything, right? Because always remember, it's about the money first, right? They're a business. So all of their decisions are business based, right? So, yeah. What would make sense for them, to make more money? Not just make a bit of money, but make more money, right? Is it designing a whole army, basically redesigning a whole army and then dropping it all at once, or sprinkling it throughout the year? And you know what I mean? Like, now mind you, I'm saying that without running the numbers, but I'm not running any numbers. So anyway, yeah. Disco Duke, I'd love a new plastic Balroth. Oh, I'd love all new plastic Phoenix Swords. Like Jane Czar, I love the Jane Czar sculpt. It hands down way better than the classic. And so I'd love to see like a new Asserman, especially if they just bump the scale up on them a bit, just a bit. I'd like them to be more like Wraithguard sized for the Phoenix Swords. And Jane Czar is almost like that. Like she's considerably bigger than her original sculpt. And not just because she's like floating in the air and everything like that, but that's fine too. I like all the floating air, stuff. But yeah, more dynamic poses, especially with Eldar. Like that's the perfect excuse to do lots of acrobatics and really fun poses. Is the Eldar line, because Space Marines, you're not going to see leaping Space Marines. I mean, you can see it in the animations and the comics and whatever's, but yeah, in miniature form, you're not really going to see it because it doesn't feel in character with those pieces, right? Because Space Marines are all kind of just these walking tanks and move forward, bang, 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 right? Whereas Eldar, it's always leaping over stuff and doing acrobatics and doing flips and turns and you know what I mean, and parkour. They're doing parkour everywhere. The battlefield is just a big parkour park for them. Right? So, yeah. Anyway. Disco. Yeah, it made sense. Think where I'm at with non-metallic at the moment. I probably struggle with this at 32 mil scale. I'll stick to swords till I'm better. Yeah, it's... like, as far as, like, non-metallic metal is concerned, I mean, like, doing the shorthand version of non-metallic metal, it's really straightforward. If you're familiar with doing like gemstones and stuff like that, where you start off with your darker value and then get brighter, and then you do a bright catch light, and that's it. That's all it takes for non-metallic metal. And so all it really takes on a model, especially when working within these organic type shapes, is just think about how the light would play on a slightly reflective surface, right? But bear in mind that it would stay darker up above, get brighter down below, right? Now, at some point, they do flip, but again, it's more... The most non-metallic metal we see on miniature painting is the shorthand version, right? It's not it's not realistic at all. It's more comic booky, illustrated, heavy metal album cover, right? It's more that style. It's a shorthand. So I really wouldn't sweat it, man. Really, I think the most challenging part is creating those gradients. I think that's really where people, I think, get hung up. It's creating the gradients, because once you can create gradients, like smooth gradients, and you're happy with your transitions, yeah, nothing is intimidating to you anymore. And creating smooth gradients, I mean, like, there's many ways to go about it. You can glaze it, you can wet blend it, you can layer it. Well, glazing and layering are pretty much the same, but there's many ways. Many ways you can go about it. Feathering. Kim, all these new kill teams they have released for this edition has come with new rules for them, so I bet that when a new kill team is released, they stop using the rules that are currently in the compendium. I have no idea. Like that orc kill team, that's got separate rules. I didn't even know that. Yeah, I didn't know. James Kent, they updated the Nurgle and Tzeentch 40k sculpt, so maybe they'll tie the Eldar in with the Slaanesh in the box set. Maybe. Eldar against Slaanesh. Yeah, that is one of those typical things. I think if you were going to get one of those kind of, release box sets. Well, I mean, they did it for the Jain Zar one, because Jain Zar and Drazar were in the same box, right? And that was Eldar, Dark Eldar. So, I mean, you can pit Eldar against Slaanesh. Sure, if they release, I don't know. Well, we already have a new Eldrad. And that one was in the Eldar Space Wolf? Was that what it was? Eldar and Space Wolves? Or was that the Death Watch? I thought the Death Watch was the Death Watch and Chain Stealer. I don't know. Anyway, I think that's probably the route they'll go for Eldar. Is we'll get these box sets, and they'll throw in plastic fire dragons with the Phoenix Lord, and then they're fighting Necrons, then they're fighting orcs, then they're fighting whatever, right? And yeah, it'll be a slow, agonizing process. But yeah, the alternative is they do it all, and they just drop it in one big load all over our faces, like a big, huge Bukkake party, and it's just, all the Eldar, I can't handle it all, and, you're doing like this kind of move where you're just kind of covering one nostril and then just blowing really hard. It's like that. Everybody out there's like, oh, fuck, that painted a picture. James Kent, episode 358. The one where Kris bemoans a lack of Eldar sculpts for a change. Yeah, exactly. You know what? I kind of like it. We don't have a name yet. What time are we at here? Holy crap, we're starting 10 after 1. I'm going to make that. Until we get a better option. That's the name of the show today. You're it until we find something better. It's like Starship Troopers. Need a lieutenant. You're it until you're killed or I find somebody better. Ghost Starman Deluxe. I think the best way to do it would be to would be one release for Aspect Warriors and Phoenix Lords, one for the heavy armor and one for the Guardians and regular foot duties. Sure, I mean, like, there's a bazillion different ways we could go about, how we like thinking about speculating how Eldar could get released from Games Workshop. And I mean, yeah, I don't really see them doing the 10 models all at once, right? And doing the Summer of the Eldar thing, right? Like next summer, they at Adepticon, and they reveal, hint at Eldar stuff coming, and an Eldar Codex. They tell us an Eldar Codex is coming, and they speculate new Eldar models, and then we get to summertime, and then boom, they hit us with all of the upgrades that we've been crying for. So plastic aspects. New Falcon chassis, right? New Falcon kit. Plastic Warlocks. Phoenix Lords, right? Maybe some new characters. New Viper kit, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, new kits all around. Other than the jet bikes and Jain Zar and Howling Banshees. Is that it? Oh, and the Wraith Guards. and Wraith Lords. I don't think the Wraith Lord... Does the Wraith Lord need an update? I don't really think so. But does it? The Wraith Knight is pretty new, so he doesn't need an update. The Wraith Guard. I mean, unless you want to add more weapon options to them. I don't know. Anyway. But yeah. Yeah, I don't see them doing a big release. Like just dropping, what would effectively be, 15 new plastic kits all at once? I don't really see that happening. Because that means that they would have to plan that, sculpt that, produce them, box them, and then sit on it. And I don't think they would sit on that many new things that they've developed, right? I don't see them doing that. So I don't see it happening. I don't see it. Disco Kris, I agree with you. Many people are ignorant of the challenges and ramp up to production runs of new or even existing models. The initial tools, retooling, and now pandemic restrictions can force many recalculations on release schedules. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and then factor in this pandemic that apparently has no end. It has no end. It is not going to end. James Kent, isn't Eldar Bukkake parties where Slaanesh come from? Isn't it? It might be. I mean, whenever we're talking about the birth of Slaanesh, it always boils down to the freaky sex stuff. But I mean, it's not just the freaky sex stuff. It's everything in excess, right? So it's it's consumption. It's sex. It's violence, right? It's everything in excess. That's what Slaanesh is supposed to be. It's excess. But all the time, it's always fucking Bukkake parties. That's what fucking did it, man. The Eldar Farseers were fucking just in these great big orgies. Everybody was just shooting it everywhere. You know what I mean? I think that says more about us than it does about, the idea of these fantasies, right? Of these fantasy worlds. So immediately we just go to the Bukkake parties. It's fucking Eldar Bukkake parties. Fucking assholes. Russ Sandbags, do you have any advice on building terrain? I'm not sure what to use for a base. For terrain used for the base? I don't know what the costs are these days, since cost of wood has gone up, but and I also don't really know where you are, Russ, but anyway, MDF. Head over to your big box lumber supply place. I don't think any places like Walmart or anything like that sell MDF sheets. I don't think so. But MDF really is one of the best ways. It's solid, it's durable. It's the same shit as, say, for example, right? Like this clipboard, right? This is a piece of MDF. It's just press board, right? I'm sure you know what MDF is. So, MDF, that's probably one of the best bases because it's a thin, sturdy, hard, durable wood that can take a sanding, right? So you can cut it into funny shapes, right? Just take your jigsaw, just cut a nice organic shape that'll fit whatever your piece of terrain is. You can sand off the corners and the edges and round it all off, make it all pretty, and it's solid, right? And yeah, it's one of the best. I would argue it's probably the best base material for terrain. Second best would be like using foam core, heavy cardstock. I mean, you could use actual wood, but no. MDF is just better because it's dense, it's solid, and it comes in already thin sheets, right? And you just got to cut it out. So just map out where your piece of terrain is going to go, cut a base according to size, I mean, you can cut it in any which way because I mean, like most of like, say for example, like the G-dub terrain, right? It's an L shape, right? Because it's a corner piece. Slap it down. Now you could just cut it out like a triangle. You could cut it out as a square. You could cut it out as an organic shape that just basically follows the footprint of the terrain. So, again, MDF, I think, is really the best basing material. It can be a bit expensive, but it's gonna go fairly far if you're pretty smart about it. And if you have the tools for it. I don't even know if you have the tools for it, but I'm going to assume you do. And it's not hard to find the tools to do it. I mean, you can even do it with a hacksaw. It takes you a little bit longer, but you can do it with like a hacksaw. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, that's it. Just heavy cardstock, foam core, even insulation board. Meh. Yeah, MDF is really probably the best. It's pretty much what everybody uses is MDF boards, and you just cut them to shape, whatever shape you want, whatever your terrain is. Really, it's not really one set size, right? It's cut to fit kind of thing. Russ Sandbags, would you play Exodites if they got a release before Craft Worlds? Would I play I would collect Exodites. Would I play them? I don't know. But yeah, if Exodites came out, I also have this feeling. This is complete speculation. I also have this feeling that all the Eldar, like all the Eldari, are going to get amalgamated into one. And it will become Ynnari. I get that feeling that that's the route they're going to go. Now, I hope they don't just toss a bunch of stuff that they don't feel like working on. I hope they keep all the other things. It's just everything falls under one book, so to speak. So that, and it would be nice to have some, solid backing and rules for Dark, Craft World, Exodite, Corsair, Harlequin, Ynnari. But then again, I mean, that's quite a few factions. That's 6 factions right there. And, again, I mean, would it make more sense for them to do it all as one book or one army? Or would it make more sense for them to keep it all separated out so they can charge for another book, charge for more cards, charge for more models, blah, 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 right? Again, it's always about the business decisions. It's not about really, what makes sense or, whatever, right? It's about what makes business sense. What's going to make them more money. Not just make them money, but make them more money. Doomslayer. Hey, Kris. You seen the Snipe and Wib? Great channel. Objective model review of the Blood Bowl teams. They seem to notice that the entire new line is incredibly solid. They seem to notice the entire new line is incredibly solid. I'm not familiar with that. I don't really watch a lot of wargaming painting channels or anything like that. I catch a few every once in a while, but it's more research purposes. I'm not familiar with them at all. I had seen that there is a new, where is it? Yeah, there it is. There's some new figures coming out. Which one? Yeah, we'll do this one, right? Yeah. These duders. Blood Bowl. I think these guys are fantastic. These are really, really cool. They just look nice and big, and I can definitely see Chaos players out there picking these kits up and using them for cultists or for marauders or whatever, right? Yeah, the Minotaur. Now I kind of was. He doesn't look as big. I was kind of imagining like a bigger duder, like ogre sized, right? Like he doesn't feel like he's ogre sized. Maybe I'm wrong. Prove me wrong, children. Prove me wrong. Heretic Scott. Look at the helmet on the guy on the right. Right? Like, is that not fucking kick ass? That's fucking kick ass, man. These helmets are really cool. These players are just awesome looking. Yeah. I dig them. And more Blood Bowl. Why not? Why not more Blood Bowl? And as far as, that's all I had. And as far as new Blood Bowl sculpts, yeah, they're freaking cool. Freaking cool, man. Freaking frickety fricks. Yeah. So, they seem to notice that the entire line is incredibly solid. Yeah, the Blood Bowl line, all the updated models that have come out in the last 5 years, yeah, they're all fantastic. They're hands down a lot better than what was created. I think I own all iterations of Griff Oberwald because I have his first version, I have his Forge World version, and I have his latest iteration, of which I still have yet to put together. I gotta get to work on my Blood Bowl. I gotta finish the Space Marine. For anybody out there who's been following along, I've been working on a custom Space Marine chapter. You can't really see. I finished this little piece here yesterday. It's supposed to look more like a seashell. It doesn't really show up on camera that well, but yeah, it's got like this nice little pearlescence going on. I like it. It fits. It fits my theme very well. I'm having a bit of trouble though. And I didn't realize that this was such a big issue when dealing with Space Marines. But what color should the shoulder pad trim be? I didn't realize that was a big thing that one has to worry about. What color should a Space Marine shoulder pad, or the trim of a shoulder pad, be? Anyway. Disco Dude, Warp Striders are like 100 years old. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're second edition. Those sculpts are from the early 90s. So it's probably older than some of you out there. James and Kent, episode 358. It's not just the freaky sex stuff. Yeah, it's not just all about the freaky sex stuff, man. It's it's violence, right? Like the Dark Eldar. I mean, like, they're all about being violent because they're like the Eldar of old, right? So, anyway. Russ Sandbags, do you think we will ever see GW switching to selling resin 3D print files of all their models or of their bits? Do I see them doing that? Not for a very long time. Now, that's a tough one. That's a tough game because the 3D print game is ever evolving. And sorry, messages. It's hard to say because, like, 3D printing, as prevalent as it may seem, it is not. Okay? We are all talking about it, but we are one of the few communities that is adopting this technology very early on, right? Other than in prototyping and manufacturing, like, and maybe cosplayers, but there's no big cosplay company that's producing anything, so there's really no competition there. Versus somebody, and this happens all the time. Sorry, I'm just gonna send my daughter a quick message. Oh, fuck off. I kind of lost my point now. There's no competition for 3D printing. And in this game of 3D printing, right now, it is far too easy for somebody who's the creator of something, the sculptor, or holds the IP rights or whatever, okay? So that they can continue to make and produce things and sculpt and, right, and do this stuff. There's no protection to protect their effort. Because as soon as you buy the file, there's nothing stopping you from sharing it with a friend and sharing it with two other friends who share it with two other friends who share it with two other friends, and then the file's out there and nobody needs to pay for it. So then the sculptor loses out on financial, financial incentives to continue to produce more. And I'm kind of surprised, really, that any prominent studio out there sharing their files, right? They have to be stolen or copied, and then that is theft. That's a crime. So if you are sitting there patting yourself on the back because you're printing off stolen files, or anything like that, that's a sad state of affairs. And yeah, but see, the other problem is that Games Workshop also has to, if they're gonna jump into this 3D market, if it even is worth it. Because yeah, we talk about the 3D printing all the time, but realistically, it's not that big. It's still a niche market, and it is more hobby in itself than it is a commercial product. 3D printing is still more of a hobby because there's so much goddamn tinkering that has to be done, right? When a 3D printer is open the box, turn it on, and start printing files, as soon as it's that easy that I can buy this device, input my code, and thank you, honey, just black, you can input those values, and it can talk to the network and download the file that it needs to get, and bang, prints it up. You don't have to do shit. It'll print up what you want. And we're not there yet. But when we get to that point, then yeah, hopefully G-Dub jumps on that bandwagon when it's at that point. But there's no way to control, well, there is ways, but there's no good ways to control theft. But that can be true of pretty much anything. There's no good way to control theft. Thank you. There's no good ways to control theft. Cars, banks, you know what I mean? So it's hard to say. Because, see, the thing is that because no money, as it stands right now, there's no money being made in 3D printing, creating the 3D files. The artists who create those files, and you support them on Patreon or whatever, they're not making enough. If they were working for a big design studio, they might be making ends meet, maybe, but I doubt it. They're not making enough because their work is being stolen and shared. Right? You and a friend who both own printers, but only one of you buys the file, but maybe you split the cost. Doesn't matter. It's one sale, yet two people benefiting, two people reproducing. Right? That's the problem that's got to get solved. Because the print technology, yeah, I mean, it's there. Because I mean, we've talked about this before about the 3D printing and the 3D printing in color. Yeah, it's just around the corner, and once a model can be printed up in the colors that you want, there's no need to paint your models anymore. Then that means that there's no need to buy paints. There's no need to buy brushes, buy painting guides, go to painting classes, do anything painting related. You have your 3D printer, bang. I want it in Blood Angels. I want a Space Marine, Blood Angels, holding a bolt gun in this pose, bang, print it up, boom, gives me 10 of them, bang, I've got it done. Right? And that's it. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but if that's the route we're going, it's interesting. Will miniature painting disappear? No. But it definitely is. It is like miniature painting, even as it stands right now. Is miniature painting on the increase or on the decrease? The desire to become much better miniature painters Is it on the increase or is it on the decrease? Or maybe is it in a holding pattern, waiting to eventually crash into the river or safely make a landing? You tell me. I don't know. You tell me. Disco Duke Eldar foresaw Kris's bukkake party. Doomslayer Battlefield in a box, reasonably priced and already made and painted. Yeah. Or is that in reference to the bases? Just buy bases? James Kent. Yeah, they announced a quarantine that weekend. I started painted up converted blood reavers. Also, he's not a Minotaur. He's a Beastman equivalent. Oh, is that what he is? He's not the Minotaur? He looks like a Minotaur. He has horns. You tell me. God damn it. I know a Minotaur when I see one. Tell me, boy. I don't know what I'm talking about here. Oh, yeah, he's kind of... He looks like a Minotaur. He's got big bull horns. That's a fucking Minotaur. You fucking tell me that's a Beastman. That's not a Beastman. The Beastmen typically are the goat heads. They're goatly. Whereas the Minotaurs, you know... Almost blew a snot out. Almost blew a snot all over my desk. Anyway. Disco. Never say never, but not likely in the near future. No. Doomslayer. Space Marine looks great. Thank you. Disco. Put yourself in the shoes of a content creator. How would you like it if someone stole your ideas and creations and kept you from feeding your family effectively? Exactly. That's exactly my point. Is that there is no incentive for any creator right now, any sculptor, any digital sculptor, to do that work for free, other than to just commit a crime. There's no reason to sculpt Space Marines, because everybody out there who is looking to not pay as much to stick it to GW, they don't have the fucking skill set to paint or sculpt, or the originality of thought to, you know, to create something themselves. And so, like a parasite, they have to steal it. And yeah, that's unfortunate. Even from a big company like Games Workshop, or the small independent guy just sculpting because he loves to sculpt. The proliferation of file sharing is the problem for those people to earn a living, or a big company to make profits. So that's the problem. That's the problem. 3D printing is not the problem. It's the file sharing. That's the problem. Because how do you safeguard your earnings? How do you safeguard your earnings? Right? Because if I was a 3D sculptor, I sure as shit would not be just donating my time and effort to create wonderful pieces of work just to put it up on Thingiverse for everybody to just download for free. Unless, of course, it was part of a promotion. But then that's part of the promotion, right? That has an associated cost. Right? Even though it's giving out for free, it still has a cost. It's advertising, right? It goes towards your advertising budget. So, yeah. Wouldn't do it. Wouldn't happen. Would not happen. Any artists who know what they're worth don't do it. They don't create for free. They don't create for free. Any of the good artists don't do it for free. And any artist who's doing it for under scale, they're foolish, and they're only hurting themselves in the long run. That goes for commission artists, that goes for sculptors, painters, anybody in the art field. Yeah. Musicians, anybody. Rush Sandbags. Would 3D prints work if there was some sort of encrypted DRM on the machine that would assist companies like GW from protecting their IP? Yeah, but again, with these safeguards, they often get cracked anyway, right? So anything, again, there is no secure There's no secure way. The only way that you're going to get, and even then, they still would get broken into, is if Games Workshop produced a 3D printer. Right? It looked like a big servo skull. And its little servo head moved around and it printed up all your models. And it gave you the printed Space Marines. And it just, you know what I mean? And this box, you know, it only talks to GW servers, or it only has encrypted GW files, blah, 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 blah. It still would get cracked. And the files would go out into the wild, and everybody would be patting themselves in the back for sticking it to the man. And that's really, really unfortunate. That's the mentality of a lot of wargamers. Collectors, apparent collectors, you know. I'm getting these sculpts, these alternate sculpts. I'm getting these, you know. All right. James Kent, sculptors don't get enough recognition now. Jess Goodwin, Bob Naismith. I can see their work in my head without thinking. Who sculpted the new Stormcast? We probably never know. No, not enough credit. But unfortunately, it's the fan base. It's the toxic fan base that makes that a problem. That's why the company doesn't go that route, because they're sparing their own employees harassment for any ill decision that is made by, you know, the artist, an aesthetics choice, or, you know, whatever, right? Because of Matt Ward. Right? Everybody remember that name? Everybody shat on that guy. That's why Games Workshop won't do it now. They won't give credit to any of the creators. Team, whatever, right? Because it's the toxic fan base. I mean, you see it in Star Trek, you see it in Star Wars, you see it everywhere. Toxic fan base. And this little genre of ours has a toxic fan base as well. Might even be the most toxic. Who knows? But yeah. Scott Radom. I disagree about the pre-colored minis killing painting. We do it because it's fun. Photography doesn't kill brush painting. We will be here painting forever. I don't know about forever. Photography didn't kill brush painting. No. Like landscape painting and portrait painting, it definitely killed those fields. You don't and if you're going to get a painted portrait, an actual artist to paint your portrait, you're paying through the nose. Photography definitely killed those. Those are not viable options. You have to have a lot of luck on your side and a lot of appreciative fans for you to become a world-renowned portrait artist. I could not name you a portrait artist. Can you name me one? World-famous portrait artist? Off the top of your head, without fucking Googling it. I know a bunch of you are fucking hitting Google right now. Without Googling it, could you tell me a famous portrait artist today, working and making a living? I doubt it. So yeah, photography definitely killed that shit. Doomslayer, Rembrandt. Are you high? Are you high? Have you recently suffered a blow to your head? I'm asking because I'm concerned, because it's spitting out some shit like that. I said alive and working today. Rembrandt wasn't around when photography was a thing. And even Rembrandt wasn't Rembrandt near the end of being Rembrandt. So, yeah. But yeah, photography did kill that shit. It killed it. And 3D printing in our tiny little niche. But see, here the thing is like we treat it like it's some big thing because it's a huge part of our world. Yet it's a niche within a niche within a niche fucking thing. You know what I mean? Like this concern that we're all up in arms about 3D printing and whoa, what's it mean for the future of this and that, and we're really concerned about it. It doesn't mean fuck all to anybody, really. To the greater whole of the planet, I don't give a shit about this. And so effectively, what does that mean? It means we're making mountains of molehills, essentially is what we're doing. And when we're carrying on this conversation, as long as we have been carrying on this conversation, yeah, that's what we're doing. Mountains out of molehills. Bum 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 bum. Fucking hell, where the hell am I? Doomslayer. That sounds so nice. I'd still paint characters, but armies on tables sounds so good. Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, why not? Like, if I want to buy a Space Marine army, and I buy the GW Space Marine printer, it's a little servo skull, and it moves the head around and it prints up your Space Marine squad. I want them Blood Angels. I want them Ultramarines. I want them, I want them whatever. I want the, custom shoulder pads on this guy and not custom over here. I want some of these guys to be, whatever, right? And it prints it up, and off you go. Play your games, right? Russ Sandbags, how do you feel about the ethics of 3D printing bits or weapons that GW doesn't actually have any models for? It's all gray area, but I mean, like, who's sculpting it? And how is that artist making a living doing their thing? Or are they just infringing or dancing around infringement to what? For their own ends? To stick it to GW? What is the motivation there, right? So if you're talking about ethics in technology, well, technology doesn't have any ethics. But yeah. Disco. Any four-way GW takes into personal 3D printing space at home will erode their own market share of selling their industry leading product offerings. The idea is a non-starter currently. Well, exactly. I mean, it's not an issue right now. Again, because 3D printing, the technology is still hobby related as far as our circles are concerned. It's a hobby. 3D printing is a hobby. 3D printing your own miniatures, that's a hobby within the hobby, right? Dark Commission, if 3D printer manufacturer studios colluded and then they could include a code number in every STL file, that would only work one registered printer. Maybe. No, you'd still would crack it. The code numbers, yeah, if it was a set code number, yeah, that would get cracked. That would be the first thing cracked. It's a simple code number. What the fuck is that? What is that new file system? It's a new encryption for artwork. NFTs? I think it's NFTs. Look up NFTs. I think that's what it is. And basically, it is, if I create a digital art piece, I can give it an NFT value, and that encrypts it as one of a kind. So even if the file was shared and carried over, that you still would have it, but that NFT number would be the number associated with that particular file. And that's what would give that file, as far as artwork is concerned, value. Right? Could the same be said about a 3D printed file or a 3D sculpt file, whatever? I don't know. But I'm sure something along those lines, that here's the original file that is registered to this person, and then all of a sudden I see that same file, but it's under a different file name, right? And okay, well, but again, how do you stop it? You can't. It's just like the music sharing file sharing. Now, did the file sharing kill the music industry? By large, I would say it definitely busted its back. Did it kill it? No. Because obviously it's still here. People still make music. But the way we go about consuming music has definitely changed. So, yeah. I don't know. It's a tough one. I mean, it's a very complex. There's a lot of different ways that, it goes, and yeah. Bum 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 bum. Where the fuck am I in these comments? I have no idea. Russ Sandbig. There's a famous portrait artist who only works for a royal family, but I don't know his name. Right. So he can't be that famous. You just know it's a job. You don't follow his work. You don't admire his efforts. Kim. Only tattoo portrait artists. Can't name one canvas, and I'm pretty art interested. Okay, wait. Only tattoo portrait artists. Can't name one canvas one, and I'm pretty art interested. Exactly. But I mean, but the point being is that photography killed those particular branches of painting. Painting in itself, no. People will do that, continue to do that well into the future, I'm sure. Whether or not a person can make a living at it is a different story. People used to be able to. 500 years ago, used to make vast sums of money for being able to do that. Nowadays, not so much. All right? So, that's all the point was. Scott Radom, landscape artistry is huge now. Bob Ross changed that game, showing it as relaxing and as difficult as people thought. Sure, Bob Ross. But who's making a living at it? And you can't say Bob Ross because Bob Ross is dead. He's been dead. So, and Bob Ross has been dead 20 plus years. So, who else is there? Is that it? Landscape artistry? You got Bob Ross. That was it. That guy died 20 years ago. I said alive today. Disco. We use 3D printing professional at my company, but we are a manufacturer. We print actual prototype parts to determine whether an engineering project, engineering design is feasible. Yeah, well, that's what 3D printing is all about. And as far as I'm sure there's 3D printers in GW right now, because you look at some of the photos of the early release stuff, or you can see that's the 3D print. It's a 3D print of the master or whatever, and you can see the print lines in the paint job. So that they have 3D printers in their studio to get those early versions, because then that way they don't have to wait until the kits are printed and then shipped them back and blah blah blah. Right? We already have the file. It's sent off to China to get mass produced. But here we can print the one-offs and have the studio painters paint them up and get them looking good for the box art. Right? I assume that's their process for that. Scott Radom. Portrait painting was only ever for the crazy rich or for the beginning of the show Family Ties. Right. But an artist could still make a living at it, was my point. Disco Duke, see you later. Phone is about to die. Gotta put it on charge. Later, dude. Doomslayer. More than one Titan in history has succumbed to belligerent fools trying to stick it to that Titan. Yeah, it's because everybody wants to stick it to GW, and I'm not 100% sure why that is, because that doesn't really make a lot of sense. That everybody's so passionate about all this stuff Games Workshop does, yet they want to stick it to them. I want to play Space Marines. I want to play 40K. I love this stuff, and I want to have all these miniature paints. I want to have all these models, and I want to have all this stuff, but I want to stick it to them. Does that make sense to you? Please, somebody explain it to me. How does that make sense? How does that sound like a healthy relationship? How does that sound like, a healthy mindset as the consumer? Please, tell me. How does that make sense? I want all the Space Marines. I love 40K. It's freaking great. It's just, I can talk about the lore all day long, the stories, the paint schemes, the models. New models are coming out. Oh, it's fantastic. But I want to stick it to them. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? Please, somebody, please explain that to me. I might be a little bit slow in this regard, but please explain that one to me. Russ Sandbags, you could encrypt it with some sort of blockchain mechanism. Yeah, well, that's why I think the NTF, is it NFTs? NTFs? I can't remember what the hell the file, but the protocol is called. But it's a way of encrypting artwork so that you can create it basically so that it's like a one-off. And I think one of these companies that are doing it, they're on a Bitcoin now. They're on an exchange, so it's only going to increase in value until the bubble bursts, which might be the new bubble. This could be the new tech bubble. Bitcoins. Russ Sandbags. A big part of it would be ease of access. Before Steam, video games were pirated prolifically. Same thing with music before streaming or iTunes, a subscription 3D printing model that uses blockchain. Yeah. I could see that. Third party. I have to buy subscription. And everything's subscription based nowadays, right? It's all that microtransactions, right? I think so. I could see that. Scott Radham. I think the analogy of 3D printing and mini market to be closer to the streaming of movies versus theater situations. 3D printing will always get there, one day and kill the manufacturer of minis one day. The manufacturer of minis? Sure. Because you become the manufacturer of the mini. So you're basically cutting out the middleman. So if you want to buy Games Workshop sculpts, all you have to do is give Games Workshop money because they're going to pay their sculptors, and Games Workshop doesn't have to ship shit off to China anymore. They can send the file to you and you print your own shit. I'm sure there's a way to make a shit ton of money at that, cutting out the middleman and going direct to the customer, right? Ideally, that seems like the best way, because so many times, right, in this capitalistic society we live in, that we're always looking to cut out the middleman, right? So yeah, why not? Why not embrace this technology? And but you have to embrace it so that you maintain security and, of course, profitability. Again, it's business decisions. The Games Workshop's not here to be your friend. Russ Sandbags. Would work fine for GW. I think the vast majority of people would stand by it. Yeah. James Kent. Bob Ross is dead. I haven't seen every episode yet. You should have done a spoiler alert. Holy shit, Russ. Or James. Come on, man. Come on, man. Doomslayer. Benjamin Chi-Chi is still dominating doctor offices around the world. Yeah, I'm not familiar with who that is, or what kind of painting we're talking about there. Russ Sandvik. Tons of artists are venerated posthumously. Example, Van Gogh was dirt poor, had extreme difficulty during his life. Yeah, well, that's most artists. But the idea of the only way we can exist as an artist is the trope of the starving artist. And I think that's bullshit. That's a bullshit thing. Although, commercially, I think a lot of artists struggle at the marketing and the money management side of things, right? That I definitely see. Disco, because it's currently hip to shit and hate on GW. Yeah, like as far as sticking it to GW, I don't get it. I don't get it. That's like, honestly, when somebody starts talking like that, I tune out and I stop taking those people seriously. I do not take those people seriously. And unfortunately, if you say something stupid like that in my presence, I will immediately stop taking you seriously about that, and you will get painted in a very broad brush about everything that comes out of your mouth. I will not take seriously. And there's that list is very long. That list is very, very long. I've met a lot of people who I thought might have been otherwise fairly intelligent. And they'll say something and they're just determinate that's it. And they're so absolute. And it's like, oh, fuck. All right. Yeah, you have a nice day. And I never talk to them again. Because they're an idiot. I don't have time for that kind of silliness. That kind of messed up kind of thinking. I don't understand it. I love Warhammer 40,000. I want to read all the books. I want to look at all the artwork. I want to paint all the miniatures. I want all the armies. I just want everybody around me to play the game. It's going to be fantastic. We're all going to put big tournaments, and we're going to figure out who's the best player and who's got the best rules and blah, blah, right? But I want to stick it to GW. Fuck GW. Fuck those assholes. Fuck them. Fuck them in their stupid ears. Fuck them. That does not make any sense to me. How does that make any sense? Like, how fucked up in the head do you have to be for that to make sense? Because that's what you look like. And when you incessantly talk about it, you incessantly paint about it, you incessantly read about it, you know what I mean? Like, you want to play it, you know what I mean? But you want to stick it to Games Workshop. Fuck them. They're charging me $100 for Space Marines. Fuck them. I'm going to go pay somebody $50. I'm going to get substandard quality product. But I'm sticking it to them. Ha ha ha. Fuck them. Like, that does not make sense to me. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? Please, somebody. Dragon Knight. Roland Volstead did my great-granddad portrait, but he illustrator. Okay, but is he like, I'm not familiar with that name. Again, but I could not tell you any famous portrait artist. So, I mean, is he a world-renowned portrait artist? Or is he just some dude you just listed off? You know what I mean? Like, fuck. Doomslayer. So, I'm not a stick it to GW person. I hear people upset about things like the fan fiction people. GW could have a policy of public domain license or small creator non-compete, but they come in hard. They also do some bad policy stuff with releases. I do think they are incompetent. More than malicious now, but they could do much better with releases, though they seem to be trying to me. Finally, their retail stream seems to have all the problems of any large corporation retail. They aren't unique in that regard. New allegations about low pay and compensation certainly don't help end. Yeah. But again, they're a company. Just like any other company, like any other corporation. A world corporation. Yeah. There's, again, with any corporation, especially ones that are publicly shared, there's always committees upon committees. And everybody wants to have their voice heard. And so everybody has a say in the decision-making process. That is a too many cooks in the kitchen kind of situation. And I think we all know my stance on the idea of too many cooks in the kitchen. It's bad, especially for creative endeavors. So, yeah. But I mean, again, you love this stuff so much, but you want to stick it to the company who makes it. Which means that if everybody wanted to stick it to the company, then stop buying their product. If you're unhappy with how the company does a certain thing, ethically, morally, whatever, then stop buying their product, stop talking about their product, stop engaging with their product, encourage your friends that if they of a similar like-mindedness to stop engaging with it at all. That means no shitting on them, no buying their products, no talking about it, no nothing. It's dead to you. It's gone. And if that truly catches fire, then the company will hear you because they'll see a dramatic loss in their money. How do you talk to companies and corporations? By fucking with their money. Then they listen. Like, it's really simple. It's really straightforward. And I don't know. Am I talking to a bunch of dummies? I didn't think I was. I thought I was talking to the cream of the cream here. Russ Sandbags. Picasso made tons of commercial art and made bank during his life. Banksy Exit Through the Gift Shop is a great documentary on commercialization and art. I've not checked that one out. I'll have to check that one out. Ninny Plug. Fuck. Okay. It's a lot of fucks. Why? Because I was dropping a lot of F-bombs? Yeah? No. James Kent. Fuck them in their fucking ears. If I never learned anything else from this show, I am keeping that phrase. Well, like, where would be the least comfortable place to get fucked? In your ear. Dark Commission. I bet there's landscape artists live streaming right now asking, yeah, but do you know any famous minifigure painters? LOL. No, because landscape painters, miniature painters, that's not even on their radar. They don't even know that that's. I'm sure a lot of them do not even know that this is a thing. I'm sure a lot of them do not even know this is a thing. Really? Painting a little miniature? Like, thought that was something that people did in the 70s. Like, that would be your response from artists and professional artists. Doomslayer. Yeah, I basically agree. Big boats are hard to turn. Yeah, they are. They are. Aaron Seach, the whole GW hate is laughable. What makes me laugh the most is seeing people who play Kings of War bitch about how much they hate GW, yet their Kings of War armies are full of Warhammer Fantasy Battle or Age of Sigmar models. Yeah. Right? It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, again, like I said, if you're pissed off at the company for whatever reason, doesn't really matter, and you want that company to make changes, then yeah, stop engaging with it. Stop buying their products. And actively encourage your friends. Stop buying their products. Let's play a different game. Let's play, and it can be just that simple. You don't have to tell them the reason. You know what? Let's start playing War Machine. Let's start playing Infinity. Let's play Relic Blade. Let's get all in on Relic Blade. We'll buy all the armies. We'll buy all the terrain. We'll buy all the mats, and you know what I mean. We'll get all the rules, get all the tokens, get all the things, and we will have us a glorious time playing Relic Blade the rest of our lives. 40k what? What is 40k? I don't know. Relic Blade? Yeah, I'm all about Relic Blade now, right? And it's as simple as that. You don't even have to tell people your reasons for why you want to concentrate on other games. Sure. It's entirely up to you. Again, in most places on this planet, they have freedom, and you are free to make those decisions. Russ Sandbags. I could see GW hitting a saturation point in the market. I feel they should expand into other areas like movies, video games, etc. They've done a good job expanding into books. Sure. They're a little late, I think, on this movies and video games and things like that. I think they're a little late on it. They should have been at least 10 years ago doing this stuff. But yeah, I agree. And yeah, I mean, like, Games Workshop, primarily, they're all about their IP. That's really all they have. Because as 3D printing becomes more and more prevalent, yeah. Again, like I said, though, I mean, this is a long way out. Well, it might be shorter than we think, but I've often said within 5 to 10 years. Like, yeah. But who knows? Maybe it'll be longer. Maybe it'll be shorter. Don't know. Dragon Knight. He does military illustrator books, and he work in Edmonton, Alberta. Okay. I have no idea who he is, though. Like, if I pick up an art textbook, would I see his face? Doomslayer. Episode 358. Where's the most uncomfortable place to get fucked? Right? Kim, in the eye socket, the most uncomfortable place to get fucked. Right in the eye socket? I don't know. Because you pick your eye all the time. Now, yeah, I'm equating to getting fucked in the eye as picking your eye. But, doesn't it feel good to get in there and get the goobies out? Now just imagine doing that with an elbow. Ninny Plug. Is War Machine still around? I haven't seen the models in a long time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. I was just talking to somebody about this, that, yeah, they still play War Machine. And I was like, oh, really? And he's telling me all about, like 3rd edition and, what it's like. And I said, yeah, I still miss 2nd, I liked 2nd. But yeah. Yeah, War Machine, as far as I understand, is still around. And they're still making models, I'm pretty sure. Dark Commission, behind the chip shop. Worst place to get fucked, behind the chip shop? I don't get it. Kim, not if the dick hits your brain. Well, you don't know. what a dick on the brain feels like. You don't know. Right? It might be the best way to fix a migraine. We don't know. Somebody's just jamming a dick into your brain. Does it hurt? No, it actually feels really good. Oh, there we go. We found a cure for migraines. What a stupid conversation. How the fuck did we get to that? Getting dicks in your brain. I don't even know. I don't even know what the hell we're talking about. I got dicks in the brain, man. Aaron Seach, worst place to get fucked. Gotta be prison or up the nose. Up the nose? Yeah, up the nose. But I think you would constantly be sneezing. Right? And in prison, I think just being in prison, period, would be the worst. Getting fucked in prison, I mean, depends on which way you lean. I mean, if you're all about dick and balls, I mean, prison can't be all that bad, right? Other than being in prison. Being in prison is the worst part about being in prison. Getting fucked in prison, I mean, I have no experience with it, but, I can't imagine that. No, I was happy to go to prison, but getting fucked in prison was the worst. But never mind the food, or being locked up 24/7. No freedoms. But it was, the one time. Yeah, I don't know. Because the whole idea of getting fucked in prison, I mean, like, that sounds more like homophobia than anything. I mean, other than being locked up, of course, with a bunch of rapists, murderers, and, other unsavory type of folk. But you also have some people in there who were wrongfully put in. So, that would be the worst. You're telling me getting fucked in prison would be worse than going to prison for shit you didn't do? Or was some minor shit? You're telling me the getting fucked part is worse than the actual being in prison? No way. Going to prison is the worst. That would be the worst. Ghost of Starman Deluxe. I think we can probably estimate that a dick in the brain doesn't feel very nice. Yeah, we can estimate it, but if I was to pull out a graph about the interactions of foreign materials against the gray matter, and it showed that a positive response, are we still estimating? Or would we be on the incline towards, dick on the brain might actually feel good? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Kim, I actually have a really bad migraine. Well, you might want to try dick on the brain. James Kent, I'm not a medical professional, but I'm fairly sure that it's not the cure for a migraine. You just said you're not a medical professional, so your entire sentiment is just that. It's just an opinion. So, but if there's hard data out there about having a penis on the brain, what a fucking fucked conversation. Doomslayer, I can't wait for the heritage moment about like the burnt toast. Yeah. Doc, my headache's gone. And meanwhile, it pans out and the doctor's got a cock on your brain. Holy shit. Yeah. That's it, man. That's it. We'll have to film that. It'll be your brain, though. Fire Drink 18, I made it. Did I win? Yes. Well, as long as I got a seat. Don't wait to stand like other losers. Ghost of Starman. Oh, I bet the data would be hard. I see what you did there. Dark Commission. There is no physical feeling in the brain, so you'll have to sort out some sort of reach around. Ebb and flow. When Secret Weapon went out of business, it made it okay for me to like resin copies of the bases I previously purchased, right? Is anybody copying their material? That didn't take long because I think they're still like liquidating their stuff, no? Ninny plugs. Secret Open has gone too? Yeah. They posted a liquidation sale a couple weeks ago, I think. I don't know if they've shut their doors or what, but yeah, they're closing. They're going out. They're done. They're done with this game, which is too bad because like I held Secret Weapon pretty high regard as far as their products were concerned. I never bought any of the bases, but their pigments are really good. But yeah, you know. Aaron Seach. Okay, I meant being in prison as much as that would suck, but getting fucked while in prison would be worse. But as you said, great wise monkey lord, it's all in how you may swing. Right, exactly. I mean, like if I'm all about dick and balls, yeah, prison sex doesn't really scare you, right? In fact, you know what I mean? Like yeah, I mean, if you're all about dick and balls, prison ain't gonna really, other than going to prison. Not that prison is some sort of walk in the park. And imagine if you weren't even guilty of that crime. Imagine the very notion of going to prison fucking wouldn't. You'd go insane. I think you'd go insane. Fucking, you know. Obviously, the system failed. Coma. They're selling out their stuff now. Yeah. Ninny plug. What stuff anymore? Don't know. Go to the fucking site. What do you mean? What are you asking in here for? What do they got for sale? Well, and start posting the fucking link. No, go to the goddamn site and just have a look. James Kent, for a heartbreak, wrongful prison documentary, see the Khalif Browder series on Netflix. Oh, yeah? I don't know. I don't know, because it'll probably make me mad. It'll probably make me mad, and I'll smash my TV or something. Russ Sandbags, how do you feel about scratch building terrain? How do I feel about it? I fully encourage everybody to do it. Give it a try. Of course, if you start getting really heavy into it, all of a sudden you find yourself collecting garbage. Because you're going to, oh, that would make a great terrain thing. I could see this. You know what I mean? You get like a brand new TV and it's got all that styrofoam in there. You hang on to the styrofoam because it's like, I can make a bunker out of this. I can make this and that. You know what I mean? Like, so you end up collecting garbage. Should we use those GW modular tables and GW terrain pieces only? Only? No, not only. I mean, if you want to, go right ahead. If it's in your house and you have a gaming table set up in your house and you only want to use GW modular tables and GW modular terrain, yeah, go ahead. If you only want to use only scratch-built terrain and only scratch-built modular tables, go right ahead. If you want to use scratch-built terrain and GW modular tables, go right ahead. Like, you know, do you, man. Again, we live in a free society, so you can make these choices, you know? It's not a one or other thing. It's all gray. It's all gray. It's not black or white. It's all gray. Some gray is so dark, it almost looks black. And some gray is so white, it almost looks like pure white. But it's all gray. Ninny plug. Well, I mean, what other sites besides Secret Weapon? I've been out of things for a few years. You've been out of things for a few years. Good God, man. Gotta get that restock happening. Dark Commission, rear ends must be a commodity in prison. Wonder if there's speculation market on Wall Street. Arses are up this week. No, I don't. But you know what, though? Like, I mean, I realize you're trying to be funny there. Trying, mind you. But yeah, I'll bet you there is something related on Wall Street that they take bets on related to the prison network. I'm sure there is. I'm sure and it's traded like a commodity. Because in like, you laugh because, you know, you're thinking about, like, you know, because you're in the UK. But here in North America, like, that's very real. That level of capitalistic ideology. Yeah. Anyway. Doomslayer looks up TV styrofoam behind him. Yeah, exactly. Russ Sandbags, I totally collect garbage. I have chicken wire in my shed and a whole bunch of styrofoam everywhere. Yeah, exactly, right? I mean, again, you know, scratch building terrain, it's great. Scratch building terrain and a table and, you know, just scratch building anything. Even your own tanks, miniatures, whatever, right? Fantastic. Awesome. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be a one or the other type of situation. I mean, if you want to use some scratch built terrain and some GW terrain, why not? Like, sure, have a mix. For example, scratch built hills, making hills, and then placing GW terrain on top of it. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. And in fact, does GW even make a hill right now? I know they have in the past, but do they even make hills? I don't even think there's even hills. So everything's fought on a 2D plane, basically right now in 40K. Unless, of course, you occupy a building and then you're got some elevation. But otherwise, you know. Yeah, you need some fucking hills in there. You need some valleys and some maneuvering and some, maybe trenches. You know what I mean? Like, you know. Yeah. Fire Drake Dean. A worse once said, high school is a lot like prison. Bad food, high fences, the sex you want, you ain't getting. The sex you getting, you don't want. In high school, the sex you want, you ain't getting, and the sex you getting, you want. How much sex were you getting in high school that you didn't want? Like, were the teachers touching you? I don't fully understand that one. James Kent, the Wall Street guys have been fucking us all in the arse for years. Yeah, exactly. That's probably the speculation what we should be really talking about. Russ Sandbags, prison company futures contracts. Yeah. Oh, prison company futures contracts. Yeah. Yeah. That is that what is actively looked at? Yeah. Aaron, Kris, stop with the terrain making and garbage collecting. The wife heard you. Yeah. Being a scratch builder, like, you know, and doing your own custom terrain, and you know what I mean, like, yeah, you end up collecting a lot of garbage. I remember when I was still doing, like, I filled an 8x4 table in my previous place. I had a nice big hobby room and I had an 8x4 table, and I wanted to have lots of terrain for it and everything like that. And yeah, I was collecting a shit ton of garbage, plastic cups, styrofoam, cork board, MDF board, you know, all sorts of shit, foam core, cardstock, packages, clear blisters, you know what I mean? Like, it was all sorts of garbage, and I was using it, but I had a whole bunch of garbage. It was quite sad and scary, but the terrain looked good. I was quite proud of the terrain. Doomslayer, there are a few channels on YouTube where former convicts tell you what it's like for real. Out of the Pen with Big Herc and Larry Lawton's channel are an interesting place to watch, worth an hour or two. Yeah, I know quite a few people who've been thrown in the clink and spent time, and yeah, I don't really need to hear the stories. I've heard it a lot. Russ Sandbags, do GW Hills have more detail than the current Eldar sculpts? Time we got here. Holy shit, started 20 after 2. We haven't even gotten to the emails yet. Let's do an email real fast. If you're wearing headphones, turn them up or down, because here it comes. Email time. It's email time. Is it done? This one's from our good buddy, the Heretic Scott. Howdy, Kris. My next batch of Unbound Marines are complete. This was a good chance to try some OSL, which I have only attempted a handful of times. I was a little unhappy with the top of the plasma pistol, mostly because I wasn't sure how to finish it. As promised, I've included some extra pics this time because I know you like all the angles. There's a little post-editing on these pics in RAW as per our discussion. Definitely better color depth and overall image quality. CNC, welcome as ever. The Heretic Scott. And so let's have a peek. Access denied. Son of a bitch. I can't look at these images? My access was denied. Why was my access denied? Access denied. I can't see them. I can't see them. Heretic Scott. I can't see the email. Let me try this one. Access denied. Why on earth would it be telling me that? The thing is usually I get like the photos like right in the email. Usually I can see them in the email. But this is telling me access denied. Request access. Which would imply that I need to send you a notification to have a look at it. Heretic Scott, what'd you do? Are you trying to get me infected with a computer virus? Is that what's going on here? Rush Sandbags. G drives links are tricky sometimes. They need permissions if they're in a folder. Okay, well, I don't even know if Heretic Scott is here today, so we will save that for next week. This one's from our good buddy Dark Commission. Hi, Mighty One. Hi. My latest completed project, except for the plinth. She is Huntress Arona. Huntress Arona? By Nuts Planet in 1/12 scale. It's 1/12? Oh, wow. It's pretty big. I have enjoyed painting this one. It's just like a big mini, so to speak. CNC welcome. As always, cheers, John, a.k.a. Dark Commission. And so let's have a look. This is a 1/12 bust? Okay. So, yeah, okay. Well, I think the other ones are like 1/12 scale, right? There we go. Very, very cool. I like the way the lenses are done. The yellow bits, is that supposed to be like a just simply yellow, or is that like a gold, like a non-metallic metal gold? No, because you used actual gold on the shoulder pads, so I guess not. So it's supposed to be just a yellow. Okay. Very, very interesting. It's like some sort of sci-fi fantasy warrior thing. Yeah, because it feels like on the yellow of the gun, it feels like it needs like a little bit more contrast. I don't know. Like either it gets a little darker in the recess or it gets a little brighter on the edges. Because like the green, like looking at it like this angle here, the green feels brighter than the yellow. Now, don't get me wrong. I like it. It's nice and clean. I like the little bit of weathering you got on the decal, too. Yeah, I like it. I think the yellow bits need to come up to that same level of contrast. You know what, John? You're here today, right, John? John. It sounds like I'm doing that like Buddy in any of you old cats remember Commando, the Arnold Schwarzenegger one. I remember the main villain, Bennett. I think his name was Bennett. And remember the way he'd always say John? John, I'll be waiting, John. That was a terrible impression, but kind of funny. Oh, and then John also sent us a video, little turnaround. So here, we're going to look at the video. I'm just going to read the comments real fast here. Fire Drake, I should have sent something this week. I've been detailing my crisis protocol that I painted months ago and repainting a few. Oh, cool. Yeah. Dark Commission, the yellow highlights are more visible to the naked eye. Oh, really? Okay. Scott Radom, let off a little steam, Bennett. See, how come they don't make classics like that anymore? I mean, like the age of the action superhero kind of thing, the action hero. Has it just become the age of the superhero? Like, was the action hero the precursor to the superhero? Because, you know, you think of, like, you know, fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Van Damme, Dolph Lundgren. You know what I mean? Like, when you think of all these famous guys from the 80s, big beefy dudes, you know, strongman, superhero-esque, super strong. You know what I mean? Like where did that age go? Scott Radom, me and Matrix could have you. Oh yeah. Me and Matrix could have killed your whole island. Vernon Wells' Bennett in Commando was awesome. Yeah. I mean, I only know that guy from Commando and Mad Max. That's it. Or Road Warrior. If I'm being correct, it's Road Warrior. That's the only two things I know him from. And I don't know what else that guy's ever been in. John. Fire Drake, I miss 80s action movies. I do too. Sometimes. I watched Commando like not that long ago. It was a month ago or whatever, and I watched that one and I was like, yeah, that was a good one. Classic. It doesn't make any sense. Some of the editing, you're like that doesn't make any sense. Arnie wasn't over there. He was over here. He just had his shirt on a second ago. Wait, he wasn't using that gun. How did he switch guns over? You know what I mean? Like, you're just like, what the fuck? But anyway, Scott Radom, Kris, don't sleep on Shoot 'Em Up with Clive Owen a few years back as a good nod to old school. Super fun. Yeah, I've been meaning to watch that one. I never did. Yeah. Kris, you also remember Vernon? Oh no, from Weird. Oh yeah, right, Weird Science. Yes, he was also in Weird Science. Yeah, he has a tiny part in that. Whereas Road Warrior and Commando, he has much a larger part. But yeah, in Weird Science, he's got that 5 minutes there. Yeah. Fire Drinking Expendables is the closest. Yeah, and there's going to be new Expendables coming out. They're shooting a new one, apparently. Dark Mission. I had that all my life, John. Yeah, but I imagine your parts though. Everybody said it with an accent, and nobody was saying it in a silly Canadian accent. A bad Canadian accent, intimidating or trying to imitate an accent. There we go. I eventually spat it out. All right. Oh, sorry. I clicked on the video file. Here we go. And here. Plays it like a YouTube video. Yeah, here the yellow does, like under the lighting, yeah, it does look a little bit more intense. As opposed to in the pictures. In the pictures, the yellow seems very, like, it looks very mustardy, right? It looks like mustard. Let's watch that one more time. Oh, excuse me. Very clean, though. I like how nice and clean that is. Yeah. Very, very cool. Thank you, Dark. John, for sending that in. Awesome stuff. John. Fire Drinker Team, being an 80s action start means you never have to reload. Yeah, true, right? An action star, yeah. Dark Commission, it's jerky because it's at 4 times. It's four times zoom or 4 times video, like 4 times speed. Are we talking the zoom or the speed? What are we talking about, John? John. Dark Commission, watch out! More vids now. You'll get sick of them. No, not really. Yeah. Oh, speed. We were talking about the speed? Okay. Oh, and that's why it felt a little jerky? Okay, gotcha. Yeah. If you can, I don't know what turntable that it was, but yeah, sometimes you can go in there and sometimes all it is just like a little hair caught in the grease of the wheel, and that throws that little stutter in. Sometimes it's like a mold line in the gear, because sometimes those are plastic gears and there's a mold line running through it. You knock that out and it'll take care of that bump. Anyway, Fire Drake Chris asked for a higher production on our submissions, so I hope you're happy with your rotating bust. Yeah, we've gotten to the point now. But you know what though, really, like realistically, wouldn't that mean that we're really all kind of elevating each other if our miniature painting is matching our photography and our production value in our media that we're creating? Wouldn't that mean we're all lifting each other up? I kind of would like to think of it like that we're all lifting each other up to be better painters, gamers, artists in general, right? Yeah. I'll go to sleep and rest my head on my pillow thinking those thoughts. That, yeah, you know what? And patting myself on the back. You know what? I think, Chris, we did a good job today. We elevated everybody else up. And honestly, like, that's kind of what I try to do. Usually. When I'm not taking pot shots at everybody. Fire Drake 18. My next submissions will be glamour shots. Yeah, with like the classic Vaseline on the lens, so it gets all hazy and everything like that. You just, you know, or you're doing that classic model pose where like your hand is like, you know, on the chin kind of thing. Greenleaf terrain. I try all I want, but I don't think I could lift you. Sorry, Chris. Pick me up? Oh, because we're all picking each other up? I get jokes. Scott Radom, you're still getting cell phone shots off my work table from me, dog. No, that's fine, and that's fine. I was like, I encourage the very first step wholeheartedly, which is, what's the first step in all of this? Talking with you guys, right? Engaging with you, helping you guys. What's the very first step? Is just to share something. Share anything. I don't care. Share it. I don't care. Just share it. Dark Commission, next time a mini, I'll be sure to say, can you take your top off, love? Jeez. Greenleaf, take your pants off. How do you even know I'm wearing pants? You don't know I'm wearing pants. Oh, I'm wrong. All right. We're getting way off the rails here. Next one is from our good buddy Scott, Steampunk Ninja Kid. Chris, hope all is well. This is from the game Twisted. It's like steampunk Dickinsonian? Jesus, Dickinsonian? Is that a fucking word? Dickinsonian? Setting. Dickinsian? Oh, fuck. I'm all fucked up on that now. Don't know the game real well, but like a lot of the minis. Anyway, here's a weird ninja kid with a wild-ass staff thing. Wild-ass staff thing? Hit me with those crits. Have a good one. And so here, let's have a look at Scott's. Oh, look at that. That's really fun. Let me switch cameras here. There we go. All right. Right off the hop, I like the painting. I like all the colors used. I like that blue-gray for their pants. And the blue-gray on the highlights of the boots. Again, the stylized light sourcing, I like. We see it a lot in a lot of Scott's painting, where the highlights are often an extreme direction. Like, for example, the light sourcing on the bricks on the base. See how he's highlighted them? See how the bricks on the right, the highlights build to the left, but the bricks on the right, or on the left, build to the right, which would indicate that the light source is somewhere in the upper middle of this composition. Yet, if you look at the legs, you can see the lighting is kind of forward. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, I like it. These are aesthetic choices. These are artistic interpretations. It's artistic license to, light source this any which way you want, and even in a combination, because again, it's all about aesthetics, right? And again, even the decision to deliberately put in conflicting light sourcing highlights is also an artistic choice. Because if you want to make something feel weird without being too weird, the viewer looks at it and goes, well, wait, this, no, and you know what I mean? And it conflicts with how we think about something. And so that's very interesting. I like the eye lenses. I like that. The way these are painted, and it seems like Scott, at least from the way the way you've from a lot of your projects that you've shared, it seems like you do a lot of glazing. It doesn't seem like you do a lot of wet on wet blending, but the way these are painted, they almost look like they're painted in oils. Am I close? Like, are you painting with oils in this regard? Is that what you've been doing lately? Because that's the way this looks. This looks like it's painted in oil paints. Like, it has that distinct kind of look to it that I see a lot of when I see a lot of people painting in oils. They often will have this kind of look. Yet, if this is glazed, then yeah, it's pretty consistent with the way you're doing. But I don't. It looks almost like this was painted with oils. Which I suppose you could interpret as a compliment, because not that I was throwing it out there as shade or anything, but because that would mean like the gradient was really good. No, I can see, like, I'm looking at the pants and I can see it. Those look like glazed highlights. No, it's really good. I like it. I like the mask. The colors overall, I mean, like, it has a very natural appeal. Yeah. I like it. It's good. And I think a lot of you out there will probably like it as well. Oh, excuse me. Any comments I need to get to? Scott. Dickensian. Dickensian? Yeah, Charles Dickens. I get the Dickens part, the author. But adding the Ian part. You know what I mean? Like dystopian, right? Dickensian. James the Kent. Geez, I live in Rochester in Kentucky, where Charles Dickens was from. Watching a guy who can't say Dickensian, I'm off to watch Uncle Adam. Dickensian. Dickensian? Dickensian. Dickensian? But that seems like there's more pronunciation on the Kensian. He's Kensian. Oh, he's Kensian? No, he's Dickensian. Oh, he's Dickensian. Scott Radom. No oils, just water and acrylics. Yeah, very cool. Evan Belleau. In my house, we call a never-ending supply of ammo in movies Hollywood guns. Yeah, definitely. Dark Commission, I've been thinking that regular acrylic painting is like oil painting, dark to light, but contrast paints are very much like watercolor painting, light to dark. Thoughts? Yes, definitely. It's definitely it's definitely the two schools of thought, and the way the mediums work. So, and I've talked about in the past, how contrast paints, they are more akin to watercolors. The idea of like where your color theory lies, if we're going to get into the color theory side of things, in normal miniature painting, when you use regular opaque colors, we're using more of a traditional color wheel, right? Red, blue, yellow, and that traditional color wheel. When we're dealing with contrast paints and we're dealing with subtractive type color, we're dealing with more of a cyan, magenta, yellow color theory, like in printers and printing, right? And sometimes in digital art, where the primary colors are cyan, magenta, yellow. Now, in contrast colors, I don't think there is a yellow that is quite yellow. They have a Yandan yellow, and it has more orange quality to it. It's not a yellow like a lemon yellow, right? And when you're talking the cyan, magenta, yellow color wheel, when we say yellow, we're often thinking of that kind of really bright yellow, right? But they have a magenta in the contrast, and they have a cyan, but there's not a really good yellow. But I mean, it's debatable, I guess. But anyway, yeah. So when you're dealing with contrast paints, yeah, you're dealing with that different school of thought, because those are two different color theories. One, you can add color and build up to a brightness, right, just through successive layers. Whereas when dealing with contrast paints, because they're transparency, it's always about the brightest value first and building downwards. But yeah, we've talked about this many times in the past. But yeah, it's really just the two different color theories, the two color wheels you predominantly will use. Traditional painting, where you use opaque colors, you'll use a traditional color wheel, and with the contrast paints, you'll deal with more of a traditional or modern cyan, magenta, yellow color wheel. That's about it. But yeah, it can be confusing though for somebody who starts painting and uses just the contrast paints, and they also want to get into more traditional type painting, and so there can be a bit of a disparity between the two. Hard to say. I guess really it's all about how you transition somebody from who was just strictly that kind of painting, and then getting them into traditional type painting. That might be a leap for some, maybe. I don't know. Again, I'm not in that boat, so I can't speak to that experience. So I don't know. Scott Radham. Dickensian is a super real term. People use it. People who use it are cool, not like those fucks who say chum. Okay. Aaron Seach, Dickensian sounds like a new alien race on Star Trek. They're Dickensian. Fire Drake, if the aliens are Dickensian, wouldn't their planet be Dick? A planet full of dicks. I think it's called Earth. You might be right there. Disco Duke, that's got to be the most famous name you've butchered. Dickensian. Yeah, Dickensian. No, it's a stupid ass term, is what it is. Dark Commission, I'm so glad I wasn't named Richard. I'll stick with John. John, I'll be waiting, John. I've watched that movie probably a fucking 100 times. And yeah, John, Whenever I hear it, and I have a father-in-law who is a John. His name is John, and yeah. Evan Belleau, it doesn't matter when it's Dickensian, baby. Yeah, but that Dickensian you had was male. Doesn't matter when it's Dickensian, baby. Holy shit. James Kent, Dick Enzian. Let's go with that. Right, well, because like it doesn't fucking make a lot of sense. He's Dickensian? He's Dickensian? It's like conscious. Or conscience. Trying to spell conscience? It's like, what was that movie? As Good as It Gets? Fuck, that part still cracks me up. Conscience? Conscience? That doesn't make any sense. Aaron Seach, well, now Kris has gone full John Matrix. John. Oh, shit. Last email. This one is from our good buddy Dave, aka Disco Duke. Titled Dragon. Just Dragon. Hi, Kris. Long time since I've sent an email wondering how you would approach the wings of the sky. I don't know whether to continue the black spots further along or whether to stop them now where they are and do the rest of the wings in a different color. I wondered about perhaps doing the bits of wing between the fingers an orange or more skin color, but don't know what color would work. It's an early work in progress at present. I will be recess shading to bring out the detail. I'll probably do this with oils towards the end. Cheers, as always, Disco Duke, aka Dave. And so here is his dragon. This looks like a GW dragon, isn't it? Isn't this the dark elf one, I believe? Isn't that what this guy is? So, what was the question? I was too busy doing the voice that I really wasn't reading the email. I was... I like the color scheme. I like the spots. We were talking about the fingers and in the membranes, the skin between the fingers. When it's painted like this, it looks more like the fucking sandworm from Beetlejuice. I could just see Gina Davis punching it in the nose. I'm not shitting on your paint job. I'm just it's just what that face is reminding me of. Anyway, I like the spots. I like the bold yellow of it. And so yeah, you want to do something that's gonna help that yellow. Now, is that as far as you're going with those spots? Or are you going further on those wings with the spots? Is the spots just imagined being just on the flesh and not so much on membranes and, the other things? Again, this is work in progress. So I'm imagining the spikes and stuff are going to be the black. I'm seeing the dark tones on the head, right? All right. This will probably derail you. Okay, get ready, Dave, to take this with a pinch of salt. But okay, I'm looking at those horns and the yellow of the dragon. Now I realize this is still very work in progress. But personally, just for those horns and the spikes and maybe even the fingernails, I would do them black with thin blue highlights. I would do them black with thin blue highlights, and in fact, I would probably carry that theme over onto the spots, where there's a thin blue highlight in each of those little spots. If I wanted to carry that over, because basically that slight blue cast would contrast nicely, especially if the entire spike was black, and it would contrast really nicely with the yellow. And of course, the strongest contrast in colors is yellow black. a lot of people would think it would be black and white, but it's actually yellow and black is the strongest contrast, like between two pure colors. And so throwing in that bit of blue would help even out that contrast, and the blue would actually work very well within that yellow. If that yellow stays that similar value. Now, of course, when you're shading the yellow, if you're going to shade the yellow, well, you said you're going to recess shade it, right? If you go with oranges, you take it off into, you know, a different area rather than if you went with browns, right? I mean, you could even go, you could shade the yellow with basically any warm color, and it would work okay. Red, orange, brown, right? But what was your initial question? I read it again. Continue the black spots further along or stop? I like where the black spots are. I like it on the flesh. If you did the spots on the membranes of the wings, I don't know if they need to go the full length. Yeah. That's kind of a tough one. I'm looking at them right now. I'm just trying to see, because like on the fingers, I think like little spots on the fingers going about to the just past that second digit, that second knuckle, right? If the spots were really, really small, like pretty dense up near the hand, but getting smaller and more dispersed the further out you go along the fingers. On the membranes themselves, I don't know if the spots need to be there, except maybe where, you know, in between, right? And just some small spots. You could also go that route as well. I don't think the entire membrane needs to be covered in spots. I don't think that's the route to go. Because once you start throwing some shadows on here and you have those black spots, there's going to be a lot of things pulling the overall vibe of this yellow down. I like the idea of this big yellow dragon. I like that, and I like the black spots. The membranes are a bit of a tough one. He was also wondering about doing the bits of the wing between the fingers an orange or more skin color, but didn't know what color would work. Going with a skin color, like doing like a Acadian flesh, or are you thinking more just browns? So if you were doing these wings, yeah, like I already see like you've done some spots on the membranes, and I think that's as far, like on that bottom membranes closest to like the bicep and elbow. I think that is fine right there. So if you carried that further on the other membranes, I think that would work fine. And also the hand, and going down to like the first digit or the knuckle, and then at that second digit, just a little bit sparse. And yeah, and doing like all the fingernails, I do them black with the blue highlight. Not a big blue highlight. I'm talking like, you know how you do like that glint highlight, right? Where you have the slight gradient of blue, but then a sharp spot of blue, something like that, or even blue, white. You know what I mean? So it looks like you're painting it like it's glossy. You see it a lot these days in the Space Marines, the black Space Marines. But as far as how you go about, you know, creating the shadow values in the membrane, going oranges or going browns, that really kind of carries over to the whole model, because I don't think you really want to go brown on the membranes and then orange on the scales, like on the body. I don't think you want to go that route. I think you want to either be orange yellow or brown yellow, right? I think a brown yellow would work okay, but if you went orange yellow, and if you went with a slight blue in the black on some of these black details, like the spikes and the nails and the claws, and you know what I mean? I wouldn't do the teeth. I'd leave the teeth as you have them. I think the orange yellow would work a little bit better, especially playing with that blue. You'd get a little bit of vibrancy, because the slight blue cast in those black black areas would play very nicely with the subtle oranges that would be in the shadows. Blue and orange, right? And so they would play together, I think, pretty nicely. Because they'd be in limited quantities, because the yellow is so dominating. But I think that's fine, because as long as you go with the dark colors that work well with yellow for the base, I think it'll be fine. I don't know if there's going to be a rider on this, but yeah. And I mean, you can always push the orange to go really kind of deep orange to pushing towards brown in like some of the darkest corners of areas. But again, I don't know how far you want to push this all and where you're thinking of going. But I mean, as far as like where it's at right now, yeah, I like where the spots are. I think the spots could go a little further in the wings. The membrane, how you're doing it on those bottom portions of the membrane, I think that's as far as it needs to go. On all the membranes, but that level. So maybe a couple big ones and a bunch of little ones, but really kind of spaced out. I think that works well. Yeah, I'd do it more on the hands. I would do the claws black. I wouldn't go this brown like you've done here on the head. I wouldn't go brown. Unless, of course, you went with brown shadows for your yellow. And then that way you're pushing more towards browns on everything. Then, yeah, then do brown shadows on the membranes and, in your recess shading and stuff like that. I wouldn't push that white on the spikes, though, on the horns. I wouldn't push it that far white, though. The white would be very, very minimal. Again, because the yellow dominates everything so much that white does not really need to be there. I don't know if I'd go with red for the eye either. I would probably go a bright saturated blue, even a purple, almost to magenta for the eye. And in fact, the gums actually can push towards more magenta as well, because the magenta will play very nicely with the yellow without being just a pure red. When I say like a magenta, I mean I'm talking like a light magenta, almost pink, like a hot pink, like that. But yeah, I dig it. I like it. I'm excited to see where this goes. I don't know how much. I mean, those are just suggestions. Yeah, it really is entirely up to you as to where you take this, and where you really want to go with it, right? So yeah. Where the hell am I? James Kent, don't go too insane on that membrane. Don't go insane on the membrane. Aaron, perhaps do the membrane in the wings a tan or off yellow. Continue the spots on the membrane, but very subtle, almost a ghost spot. Yeah. Disco Duke, I was going to do the rider in black armor so I could highlight him in, say, Incubi, and then tie it together with the blue in the spines. Yeah, I would go that route. Yeah, if you're going to go black armor on the rider, then I would do... Incubi Darkness is a fantastic way. And in fact, doing the spikes on the body and doing like the spot, like if you were highlighting the spots or, whatever, using Incubi Darkness and building to Incubi Darkness, yeah. Because it's got a very blue-green, right? And it's that blue quality that will play very nicely with the yellow. And if you go with the orange or orangey brown shading for the scales and flesh and the membranes and stuff like that, yeah, that would all work very well together if you went with that yellow blue, right, combo. Yellow blue is a very striking color combination. It'd be subtle, but because of the size of the figure, it should people viewing it should see that vibrancy into it. It should look quite good. Dark Mission. If I had the Dosh, I would get one. Cut out the membranes, replace with clear plastic, and give it a thin coat of pearlescent or color shift. In the membranes, cut out the membranes, replace with clear plastic, and give it a thin coat of pearlescent or color shift. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so on the wings, cut that membrane out, replace it with a clear plastic, and paint it that way. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. If it was more insecty, sure, I definitely could see something like that. As a dragon, though, with like clear membraney wings, you don't really see that often, do you? Like, is there an example of a dragon that has the clear membranes? This apparently is the mime for dragon wings, apparently. Anyway, yeah. I mean, for insect, 100%, yeah. And, you know, like there's so many GW kits and kits out there in general that really, they underutilize, you know, how light plays on a surface. Like casting some things in clear plastic would be way better than, you know, struggling for a lot of people who want to have this really interesting look on their models and then struggle because they don't know how to achieve, you know, a particular look, right? Like, for example, painting ice. Say a monster has an ice axe and the axe head is supposed to look like ice. Now, you could paint that to look like ice, right? Especially if in the lore of the character it is ice and people want it to look like ice, but they don't know how to paint it to look like ice, or they struggle with creating gradients and knowing how to place light, and you know what I mean, like all these things, going about it to create these effects. They struggle, and people are just and it's discouraging, and it discourages a whole bunch of people. And I don't know why you would want to make things more difficult for people to get into something, right? You want it to be fairly easy for people to get into because they're passionate about it. They have a passion for it, and they want to, you know, see these visions forward. So I don't know why you wouldn't cast certain things in a clear material to emulate these desired appearances, right? I mean, if people want to, you know, display their talents for miniature painting and paint those, you know, like they would see in a painting, actual painting, then yeah, they still could. Because I mean, even if it was cast in clear, you could still hit it with an opaque color and paint it to however you want, right? But at least if it was cast in clear, then all they had to do was hit it with a little bit of color, transparency, bang, boom, and they have something that looks like it's made of ice. You know what I mean? Like, it just seems really kind of straightforward. The only reason why I think it doesn't occur is because, I don't know, it costs. There's a different price associated in casting it clear. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm speculating at that point. But I mean, if Bandai kits can cast different materials onto a single sprue, I'm sure other companies could do a similar thing. You know what I mean? Like Bandai kits, there's hard, clear, and rubbery things all cast onto the same sprue. It's on the same sprue. How the F do they do that, right? I'd love to know. I'd love to go check out Bandai's factory and how they do that casting process. I would love to know. I'm sure it's basically everything's specifically tooled and it goes through an injector and it only injects so far. But how do you control that injection? You know what I mean? Like there's all these questions, man. It's all these questions. Scott Radom, who you calling crazy? Essay? Don't you know I'm loco? Now I gotta go blast some Cypress Hill. Whip out my flannel shirt, top button only, of course. Whenever I think of that kind of shit, I always think of Cheech and Chong. And when Cheech is he's fucking with Chong and he's Bendeco, you say Bendeco to people, it means friend, and he's, hey Bendeco. That shit cracks me up all the time. Anyway, Disco Duke, would you go darker or lighter with the spaces between the fingers on the wing? I'm guessing lighter, so it looks more light was passing through. Well, yeah, I mean, if you do that on the interior, so like as the wings come forward, you paint it brighter so it feels more transparent. Yes, you can go that route, but that won't work when looking at it from the other side because your imagined light sourcing is top down, right? Unless, of course, you're imagining that there's a light on the other side showing through the wing, right? Like when painting light on a model, you're imagining it's occupying a certain environment. And it only works from a few perspectives, which is why non-metallic metal looks so nice in photographs. Or even object source lighting, right? Why it looks nice in photographs, because you have to take everything into account, right? Basically, I've talked about this many times. You are taking 2D solutions to a 3D problem. The 3D problem being the sculpt itself, the sculpture, right? Because sculpture is a three-dimensional thing. Yes, there's sculpting that's two-dimensional, but that's not what we deal in it. So, you're taking a two-dimensional skill set and applying it through a three-dimensional problem. That doesn't always work out. It looks nice on a picture. Why does it look nice on a picture? Because it's two-dimensional. But it doesn't work right when you're looking at the actual object. So how is this object supposed to look? How is it supposed to be viewed? Are you intending this to be a gaming piece? Are you intending this to be a display piece? Are you intending this to take pretty pictures with? What is your end goal? And I think that's a lot of things, something that a lot of people forget about when they're, going on with this miniature painting business. Is what is your end goal for your painting? Where do you see your painting going? This is something that a lot of artists struggle with. Is where is this going? As you develop your technique and see your vision forward, what is the vision, right? And so that is really, where do you see this dragon? Is this dragon meant to be just for the tabletop? Are you going to be playing with it? Or is this meant to sit on the shelf? Or are you only doing this for pretty pictures, right? What is it for? Disco Duke. Oh no, I already read that one. Evan Belleau. Of course. Doing my best Sendog Hype Man pronunciation for you there. Scott Radom. Let's go, Eb. I'm thinking of fixing to have a day now. You're fixing to have a day now, yeah. Alright. So hopefully Disco, that helps. Hopefully I don't know, did we answer, did we get a satisfactory answer on any of this? I hope we did. Yeah, I'm hoping we helped and we got somewhere with this. I'm hoping. I could be wrong. I probably am wrong. But hopefully Disco, it was Disco, yeah. Hopefully that helps. Again, it's like when you're okay, for example, even myself, right? I'm struggling with my Space Marine guy, my custom Space Marine, because I don't know whether or not I want the shoulder pads to have a white trim or red trim like the rest of the armor, because it affects the overall balance of color on the model. And so right now, I'm currently, in my brain, I'm struggling with that. That's a really dumb thing to be struggling with, but yet here I am. Right? Should the shoulder pad trim be red, be a different color, be white? I'm leaning towards being white, but when I see it, and I also have been playing with, I posted this on Discord the other day, and I don't know if I shared it, but anyway, I didn't know I had found the it's the creating a color pattern for Space Marine. It's a PDF. Where the fuck did I save mine now? And I don't think I shared it on the Discord of where I'm at. No, that's the proper file. I thought did I export it? Oh, maybe I didn't export an image. That's what it is. I didn't export an image. Because I've tried it with the solid red and I've tried it with the white. And maybe I'll post it on Discord later. I'll make a quick thing. Or maybe I'll post it. I don't know. I'll post it somewhere. Maybe we'll do a poll. And you guys can vote. I'm having a hard time deciding. Yeah. Adam says paint it black. Black trim? Black would be okay. The other one I was thinking of was actually yellow as well. But then I'm like, yellow, black, might as well just leave it red. But then I'm like, because I use the, you know, the generator, and I'm kind of filling in the color, and it's approximates with, you know, how I'm going with the color scheme. Because I may translate this color scheme to 28 mil. You know, for regular Space Marines, I might do it that way. Just for gigs, you know what I mean? Try out a squad, see what a squad of them looks like. But yeah, Kim, I originally did the shoulder pad trim red on the Blood Angel, but my brother has black trims on his army, so I had to repaint it to his liking. Right, but I mean that you were doing it like a commission, and the person you were commissioning for wanted it a specific way, so you really didn't have to think about it. Because you did it one way, but he wanted it one way, and so you did it that way, right? So you really didn't think about it in that regard. You didn't have to ponder. I'm making this up, right? As far as I can tell, I'm the only person who has done this for a Space Marine. I don't know. I could be wrong. Somebody else may have already done this for a Space Marine. I doubt it, but yeah. Now, the particular color pattern of red armor or dark red armor with white shoulder trim, I mean, it looks really cool, but I have a very bold white on the shoulder, on the chest, right? Like, he's really quite bold on the chest, and with the shoulder pads, right, being white, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know. Then of course then it brings up the question of the gun, because the plasma hellblaster fucking thing, whatever the fuck it's called, I wanted to do copper, but am I going to do like all the copper? Am I going to do just a bit of the copper, or, you know, could the gun have a white casing with the copper and then metal bits, or is the entire gun copper? You know what I mean? Like, see, all these questions, because I'm making it up, right? I'm making it up as I go, which is pretty much how I operate anyway. I pretty much just make shit up as I go. Yeah, I might post it on the Discord. I might post it. I might even post it maybe on the socials. On the socials. I don't know. Kim, my point is that black might be too Blood Angel-like. Yeah, I'm not too worried about like blood. I mean, like any red Space Marine, it's going to be equated to Blood Angel anyway, right? So any black armor, Black Templar. Any blue armor, Ultramarine. Any yellow armor, Imperial Fist, right? Any green, Salamander, right? Like, there's only so many colors we can use and to make up a custom chapter. So if the armor is red, Blood Angel, and then whatever works on Blood Angel, because Games Workshop has already done a pretty good job of working through a bunch of the color scheme. I mean, like, we can look at, like, here, like custom, or no, Space Marine chapters, right? Space Marine chapters, and I'm sure there's a great big image. Where's that big image? Oh shit, yeah, look at this. Holy carmoles. This is somebody's thing on DeviantArt. I don't know, this is gonna oh, the Warhammer community one. Yeah, okay, Warhammer community. There we go. So let's go. Warhammer community. Boom. Create your own Space Marine chapter. Oh, was this the article I fucking got the image file from? Because yeah, I used this thing right here. This little, you can download it, and that's what I'm using to kind of just fart around with and see how it looks and all that crap. But anyway, yeah, this image right here with all the Space Marines, right? And I mean, like, there's many here with red, right? I mean, I see one on the lower right. I don't know what fucking chapter that is, but it's got a yellow trim. I see ones with solid red. I see ones with black. I even see one that looks like a Space Wolf with red. On the third row, bottom, far right. But anyway, I think you guys get my point. Do I see any with white trim, though? I'm looking for all the red Space Marines. I don't see any with white trim, though. Oh, bottom guy. Far bottom. He's got red with white trim. But he's got a green chest eagle with black boots. Good God. Well, it's custom chapter, right? Custom chapter is a custom chapter, so you can't go, oh, that looks fucking stupid. Well, it's a custom chapter. That's how the Space Marines look, right? But yeah, you don't really see a lot with red armor and white trim on the shoulder pad. But see, the thing is, though, is I have a white chest eagle, and it just might be a lot of white lightness on the upper part. Oh, well, I guess the second row. Second from the left. His shoulder trim looks like it's white, but it also might be like a silver. It might be a silver and red. Yeah. Looking at all these stupid Space Marines. I'm kind of like, again, I'm conflicted, and I'm also trying to stay within a particular theme for my custom chapter, and that's why I'm making the decisions that I'm making, right? So yeah, because again, like, the shoulder pad is red, but it's gonna have a big white symbol, right? Like, the shoulder pad's gonna have this big Thunderbird in it, and that's going to be white. So should I do the trim in white? That pushes that red way back there. But yeah, because the other shoulder pad, I have a bear paw, and I initially was thinking I was going to paint it white, but I'm thinking I might paint it black, because the field behind it, I might do a particular color. I might change up the colors a bit. Kind of like Space Wolves. Again, I've mentioned this many times. It's kind of like Space Wolves, how they have big, like, chevrons, and they have, like, the two different colors, just to denote squadron, right? That only works if I leave the trim red. Again, yeah. Because, like, if I do white trim and then these big white symbols, then it feels like there's all this upper body of brightness, and I don't really care for that idea. But then again, I mean, because then I'd be inclined to paint the lower portions, incorporate some white. Like, I'd want to maybe do one of the knee pads in white. That's kind of where I lean, and that's kind of why sometimes that occurs, right? But yeah, I'm just thinking. But yeah, I might even do yellow. Yellow wouldn't be too bad either. Maybe like a golden yellow? I don't know. What time are we at here? Holy shit, it's 20 minutes after 3? Good God, people. Why don't you tell me to shut up already? Kim, the chevrons. Oh, my point is the black might be Two Blood Angel like. It works great. I did it both for Space Wolf McFarlane, and then the trim is the armor color, the chevrons. Yeah. yeah, I mean, it's, it feels a bit like it borrows like from Blood Angels. Has a bit of a Space Wolf vibe to it as well. Again, I mean, like, I'm still playing with the idea. I'm still making it up. I mean, I'm making it up. Making it up as I go. Kind of like this show. I just make it up as I go. I really don't have a plan. I'm just making it up. If you need help with your color schemes, maybe you have a particular question about paint jobs, painting techniques, whatever it is, feel free to ask your questions in the chat if you're joining us live. Of course, you can always submit your questions to Kris@wayofthebrush.com. It is in the description below. If you're going to send pictures, send them as attachments in the email. Don't send it off as links to other sites. Of course, if you don't feel like sending an email, you can always use the hashtag #WayOfTheBrush on the Instagrams. Of course, leave a comment in your comments. I mean, if you want me to, see it. Just because typically with the Instagram, I don't really do a lot of CNC because, it's not like anybody's really asking, right? They're just kind of sharing this stuff. And I fully encourage everybody to just share. Just start sharing. I fully encourage that. But if you need help, I would rather you ask for the help rather than me look at your work and then offer a critique, but it was not wanted. You weren't looking for it. You were just sharing. You were just, this is what I'm working on, and I don't care if you like it or not, right? Some people are very much like that, of that kind of mindset where I'm just going to throw it out there. If you like it, great. If you don't, fine. But because some people in their critiques are less than constructive, and so I think that's why I really don't, throw it out there that often like that. Just, whereas with an email, people can say, well, here, this is what I'm looking for. Help me out. Is this the way, is this a good way to go? Is this the, should I change direction, or am I on the right path? And you know what I mean? Like, just more opportunity to be a little bit clearer. And I like to be clear about things. Also in the description below is a link to wayofthebrush.com. Central hub of all this silliness, has the links to all the social medias as well as Discord. Join us on Discord. It's a lot of fun. Only one rule in the Discord: don't be a dick. Don't be a dick. John. I'll be waiting, John. Anyway. Also, at wayofthebrush.com, you'll find a link for t-shirts. Want to get yourself a t-shirt? Look like a connoisseur of all that is good and holy in this world. They're wearing a Way of the Brush t-shirt. And if you purchase yourself a shirt, send a picture of yourself in your shirt, and I will add it to the Monkey Shrine, which is also at wayofthebrush.com. And, of course, you'll find a link for Patreon. Huge thank you to all my patrons. Without your support, this channel would not be able to continue to do what it is that I do. And so a huge thank you to all of you for your continued support. And for everybody else who's thinking about supporting, huge thank you to you as well. There are various tiers, various perks associated with those tiers. So click whatever makes sense to you. And a huge thank you to everybody who does. If you're not able to support monetarily, i.e. money, thumbing up the video, liking, following, subscribing, commenting, and sharing the video, smashing the keyboard. As soon as you see the video, you go, oh, and take your keyboard and just smash it on your forehead as hard as you can. And you're helping me out a great deal. And possibly giving yourself brain damage. I don't know, but that's okay. It's better than a dick in the brain. I can't remember the rest of the spiel. Big thank you to Carl, Guy Miro for Beer and Blood Bowl YouTube channel. Check it out. If you love yourself some beer, you love yourself some Blood Bowl. Beer and Blood Bowl is where it's at. We always take time to thank Carl, even though he is no longer with us, for taking the time out of his busy day. Creating the email jingle to play before the email segments of the show. It's always much love to Carl. And of course, speaking of love, much love to my baby brother Evan for creating the intro, outro music that plays at the beginning and end of the show. Always much love to my baby bro Evan. And if you're into rare comics, rare. Like a whole series where Wolverine's getting sodomized. Like that kind of rare. Like you're like, I never even heard of that comic. Captain America fuck Wolverine in the ass? Like, when the fuck did that happen? And why is that in the MCU? Yeah, this is the shit they don't talk. This is the shit they don't want you hearing. It's that kind of rare comics. Check it out, EB Comics. It's in the description below. Everybody's like, that didn't fucking happen, you liar. It did. There's comics to prove it. Check it out. You'll find it and contact them. Say, hey, where's this comic where, you know, Wolverine's getting plugged? You'll see it. You'll find it. It's out there. I know it's out there. Quickly after the show, he scrambles to his drawing board to draw up Wolverine getting plugged by Captain America. Getting plugged. Plugged. Proper plugged. Ghost of Starman. Good show today, Kris. Got my ARC troops primed. Just primed? That was it? Good God. I've been talking for 3.5 hours, and all you got was models primed? Which reminds me, I probably should go take my model to spray with the... Because I've never used this Tamiya flat clear, so I'm kind of nervous. I don't know if it'll mess up. If it's like GW flat clear. What is the GW varnish? Purity seal? Is that what it used to be called? Purity? Is it still called Purity? I don't even know. Ghost of Starman, I was late. Oh, you're late. Like, are you late? Like, you missed the month? You're late. Uh-oh. I was late. Anyway, we're done. I can't. Oh, Evan Belleau keeps messaging me. Eb, I'm trying to finish the show. I'm trying to finish this crowd off. Holy shit. Alright. Take care of yourselves, people. Take care of your loved ones. And take care of your brushes, because they will take care of you. Yeah. I'm tired. I need to go eat. I forgot my frickin' mic was still on. Did you guys hear me pounding on my keyboard? No? Okay. Go paint something. Go do something. But be sure to send pics. Go do something constructive. But send pics. Do it. Do it now. John.